𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙃 back with another video. I hope that you guys all enjoyed today's video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Share the video to a friend who likes what ifs or just anime content in general. Comment down below your thoughts and feelings about the video, as well as what are suggestions, as those would be appreciated. What you guys are going to watch is an audio from maybe about a year ago. I actually promised to do an all parts to the series, but I never actually got around to it. So I took the time to compile all of the audio files and turn it into a movie so that you guys can enjoy and watch it all together instead of as miniature parts. I hope that you guys appreciate it, even though it's not fresh/newer. But yeah, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and past Rami will take it from here. See you later. Also, let's just say I was a little bit cornier back then, so forget about that.
𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙃 back on their video. Please all enjoy today's video. Make sure to like, share the video to a friend, likes for this or just anime content in general. If this is not your first rodeo or your first time on the channel, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button, as I would appreciate it, as well as the fact that I would like to see you guys' thoughts and feelings about the video with some comments down below. And if you are interested, I post what ifs on another channel of mine known as 𝙎𝙈𝙃, where I post what ifs and discussion videos. But with that being said, we can get into the backstory of this what if. But before that, if any of you are wondering why I remastered this video, or, made a remake, or whatever you want to call it, it's because I promised to. You see, every 1,000 subscribers to 10,000 subscribers, a goal of mine for, well, ever since I started this channel, I will be remastering a series that I think, has brought me to where I am today. And this is one of them. Anyways, let's get into the video. Ancient. An ancient dojutsu. Ancient, well, goes by many definitions, to say the least. When searching up and, just trying to find the right definition for ancient, I encountered, to be more specific, a lot of problems. By that I mean the definitions. For instance, ancient can mean, at least as an adjective, belonging to the very distant past and no longer in existence. An example of such thing is the ancient civilizations of the Mediterranean. Now, there is another, I guess you could say, definition. An old person, or, an old person. But with that being said, there are other terms of ancient. So I also had to figure out another thing. And what is that thing, you may be asking? How old is ancient? Like, what age do you have to be considered ancient? So I looked this up, right? And it said, roughly 5,000 years ago. And I was like, that's way too long, at least for the Naruto story. So I kept looking, right? Then I found out that you would have to at least be, 1,400 to 1,500 years old to be considered ancient in a historical sense. So then I was like, that suits the timeline pretty well, so that's what we're going to go with in that definition. 1,400 to 1,500 years as being ancient. But now that we've got the definition of ancient out of the way, we can now explain this ancient dojutsu, and we can now fully get into the quote-unquote Naruto timeline. Dojutsu come in all shapes and forms. Not only that, but they come with many powers, techniques, and advantages. Most notably, the 𝘎𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙃, giving you the ability of almost 360-degree vision with one blind spot, which most do not know of. You can also count the Sharingan, a dojutsu so powerful that most of our strongest, at least that we know of, ninja and even some protagonist and antagonist are Uchiha and possess said dojutsu. This dojutsu gives you advanced perception and the ability to very strong genjutsus. You could say that an Uchiha himself, that being Shisui Uchiha, has the strongest genjutsu of them all. Now, an ancient dojutsu does not need to be powerful. But for the sake of this video, it shall. Maybe it's just me, but I do prefer a dojutsu that's powerful. I prefer a dojutsu that, well, lends the wielder strength. My bad. Had to clear my throat. Now, how would this dojutsu come to be? Pretty simple, at least in my mind. Now, I am, making this up while I go, since this is from the top of my head, but the dojutsu was made as followed. Many Otsutsukis gathered in a room as they thought of a power that they could have, that would allow them to not have to destroy planets and eat the fruits that are harvested from them, or to gain a power so that they do not have to fuse with one another. And they did. These Otsutsukis were scientists. Powerful scientists at that, but still scientists. In my mind, they may have even been stronger than people like Naruto and Sasuke today in Boruto. Naruto Next Generations. But that is out of the question. Heck, that doesn't even matter. Because they are not the people who we are focusing on in the story. Not today, at least. Each scientist would pour their chakra into a ball, as they would then create a ball of chakra. We have seen chakra take physical form, most notably in the tailed beast. Quite literally, beings of chakra. So, it's not too out of the ordinary to say that a ball of chakra could be made. You could actually call the Rasengan such a thing. It is truly just rotated chakra within one's hand. But I'll continue. Now, these Otsutsuki would put said ball within a test tube-like chamber. By that I mean a glass that was a cylinder-like shape, pretty big, and was within water. Now, this ball would then be absorbed by the water, and what I mean is that the water would kind of just like absorb the chakra. How this is going to work, we'll say it's a scientist's invention. But this scientist had another idea. Why not let others be able to have this power? You could call these people good, or you could just call them pacifist. You see, most Otsutsuki we see are evil, tyrants, and things of the sort. But these people do not want to fight. You can call them either weak, or you can call them pacifist, people who do not wish for violence, and would rather stray from it. But at the end of the day, they are Otsutsukis. But also at the end of the day, they want others to be able to experience what they do. They want others to not have to fight. They disagree with the philosophy of going from planet to planet and destroying everything. They disagree with the philosophy of absorbing one another in a sort of cannibalistic manner. They disagree with the regular morals of the Otsutsuki. I don't know how, and you, the viewer, will also not know how, but a dojutsu will be made. It is not clear how a dojutsu is formed, nor how it is created. You can take formed and created in the same light. Heck, you can call them the same thing, but truly they are not. The formation of a thing would be the visible shape or configuration of something. So, like the body, shape, etc., etc. Maybe even the color. But creation and things of the sort, well, it's kind of different. By that I mean, to create would be to bring something into existence. So, that is this dojutsu. And what I mean by that is that a dojutsu would be made. Like I said before, we're not too sure on how dojutsus are actually made. So, for the sake of the story, we'll say that they're made how? Well, these scientists are making them. Not normal dojutsu, like the Sharingan, Byakugan, Tenseigan, etc., etc. The Tenseigan being a bit of a, I guess you could call it a wild card of sorts. But we'll basically say that artificial dojutsu are made as follows. 3 people pour their chakra within one object, or create, or form an object. They then put said object into water, which said water can absorb said chakra, which then causes a dojutsu to be formed. This dojutsu is going to work as follows. It is going to work in a way similar to the blade known as Excalibur. If you, the viewer, does not know what Excalibur is, well, it's kind of simple. It's a blade that grows stronger with its wielders, at least in the definition that I'm aware of. Of course, there are many, tales and stories, historical events, and things of the sort that tell otherwise, but for the sake of the story, Excalibur is going to be a blade that grows with its wielder, or each wielder. For example, the first wielder is very strong and has, strong attributes, is fast, etc., etc. The sword is going to be fast. The sword will be strong. That is going to be the definitions for this. That is not the necessary definition of the actual Excalibur, but that's what it's going to be in this timeline. But with that being said, I shall continue. These scientists would be the first wielders of this dojutsu, as they would be praised throughout the Otsutsuki clan, not only for bringing many of their members' lives, and by that I mean making many of their members not have to die, going out on planets, and maybe even encountering alien-like species, or maybe even humanoid-like species that could kill them, and it actually brought a pacifist-like system into the Otsutsukis, but many still attacked planets, and went from planet to planet growing stronger. Similar to the Saiyan race from Dragon Ball Z, if any of you know what that is. These scientists were extraordinarily powerful. Of course, they're innately powerful because of the fact that they're Otsutsukis, but besides that, they would just be powerful themselves. They weren't scientists just because they were. They knew knowledge and they were powerful. But with that being said, there is also something else that this dojutsu grants. Whenever one person who wields the dojutsu dies, their soul is trapped within. Similar to One for All from My Hero Academia, but not at all the same. Not only that, but this sword brings advanced perception, advanced ability to negate against genjutsu, though it is not full negation, if you will, to genjutsu, but it is advanced negation, or, protection to genjutsu. Not only that, but it grants the ability to use all 5 chakra natures. I'm going to give it this ability. See no reason why not. And maybe you do follow, maybe you don't, but a lot of these abilities are like the Rinnegan. And I feel so it should be. Why, you may be asking, as these are 2 different dojutsu. Well, it's pretty simple, at least in my mind. The Rinnegan is shown to be with most Otsutsukis who are high-ranking, or just, Otsutsukis in general. And if they don't have the Rinnegan, they have the Byakugan, and, well, that's that. But I think that I've covered enough about how this dojutsu is formed and things of the sort, and how artificial dojutsus are going to be formed just in this timeline. And since this dojutsu is, well, more than our 1,400 to 1,500 years old, standpoint / view, if you will, this dojutsu is going to be ancient. Naruto would be lucky. By that I mean he would be chosen. Chosen by the gods, or chosen by destiny. Well, that is in you, the viewer's hands. By that I mean, if you interpret it as destiny, or if you interpret it as the gods giving Naruto a great deal of power, well, then that's that. But now you may be, telling me that I'm wrong about what I said previously, that this dojutsu was basically gifted to others and that it was gifted through the Otsutsuki clan. Well, Naruto kind of is a bit of a plot hole in that. Since Naruto is the reincarnation of a member of the Otsutsuki clan, that being, the man we know as Asura. Asura and Indra are the reincarnations known as Naruto and Sasuke, and Naruto is the reincarnation of Asura. So, I see no reason why we can't, just bend the story a little. In this timeline, we're going to say for the sake of the story that Naruto was chosen due to the fact that he does have Otsutsuki lineage. Not only that, but he's kind of tied to the Senju due to his Uzumaki and, well, his other clan, the Namikaze, though they don't really give you anything in terms of Kekkei Genkai. But with that being said, Naruto will be chosen, and I think that that's enough for me to say that we can now start the story, and by that I mean the Naruto timeline. Everything I've said before this point was all debriefing on the dojutsu, a few of its capabilities, and things of the sort. As we get deeper into this part, or not even this part, but the parts to come, if the series goes further, well then, we will see. And we will get much more skills that the dojutsu has, we'll get more knowledge about it, more knowledge about the people who create it, things of the sort. Anyhow, we shall now begin. A baby was born to two people, Minato, Namikaze, and Kushina Uzumaki. Most of us are familiar with this tale. Heck, most of us has heard it dozens of times. Naruto would go on to grow up like he had in canon. Hiruzen not fulfilling his promise to make Naruto known as a hero. Instead, Naruto would be seen as more monstrous, demonic, and evil. Naruto was seen as, well, a child with no hope. A child who was a monster, an abomination, and things of the sort. Naruto was not looked up to. He was not looked at with a great deal of respect like his father Minato had wanted him to. Instead, he was belittled, beaten, bullied, etc. by the people of the village who saw Naruto as a monster. Even though Naruto was in a way responsible for their lives. By that I mean military power. Maybe it's just me and I don't want to ramble too much in this video since I do want to stay on track, but Jinchuriki in general are treated horribly in their villages, even though without them, the military power of said village would be disrupted and they would be prone to attack. So in a way, a Jinchuriki is the sole reason why their village stays protected. Maybe it's just me who thinks that, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Jinchuriki are meant to be bullied. Maybe Jinchurikis are, meant to be hated and things of the sort. But I'd say at least respect them, or at least be at even grounds with them, because at the end of the day, maybe their tail beast killed many people that you loved, but it is also why you are not dead. Is it not? Maybe it's just me. Anyways, back to the story. We now have a time skip from this period on, with Naruto being currently of about 4 years, making Naruto 8 years old. Naruto would enter the academy. Years of bullying, years of torment in his life, he wanted to be acknowledged. He wanted to become the Hokage, and he knew it. One day he had even stared at the Hokage faces and knew what he wanted under the moonlit sky. Naruto would succeed in the academy. Contrary to the canon, his chakra control was somehow perfect. And yes, that may be very surprising, but somehow it was perfect. Was this the dojutsu starting to manifest? Was this a power deeply hidden within Naruto? Well, it really just depends on your outlook on it. Was this a power gifted to Naruto by the Otsutsuki, or was this just Naruto being good at chakra control? Either way. Anyhow, Naruto would somehow be great at chakra control as he learned the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Not only that, or the Clone Jutsu, since the Shadow Clone and Clone Jutsu are very different. Anyhow, Naruto learned the Clone Jutsu, as I still do see Naruto rising through the ranks of the academy, but in different ways. Naruto is in no way the sharpest tool in the shed, or if you don't understand that, analogy, the smartest person in the room, but he is more or less the strongest. I see Naruto training to boost his skill, strength, speed, and just overall get closer to becoming Hokage, even though he knew that it was miles away. Naruto also knew that he was gifted because he felt an extreme amount of power within him. And whenever he fought, whenever he trained, whenever he did anything, he felt power rising within for some odd reason. Naruto would continue to train as he loved training, and his favorite food would still be ramen, as ramen provides carbohydrates, otherwise known as carbs, which are great for training and are great for energy. Anyhow, Naruto would continue to pursue his dream of Hokage as 4 more years would pass. Within these 4 years, Naruto has gotten a lot stronger, and this dojutsu of Naruto's, the ancient dojutsu that the Otsutsuki scientist formed a trio, if you will, to create, slowly started to rise up within Naruto. Naruto, at this point, would still be manipulated by Mizuki. I see no reason why this wouldn't happen. He still is a quote-unquote knucklehead ninja, and even though he, in most cases, should still become, a genin, I see no reason why he wouldn't want to get even more power. I see Mizuki kind of having the word in a different way, though. So, he's not going to be like, oh, you'll be able to become a ninja. Instead, he's going to be like, oh, you'll be able to get closer to becoming a Hokage, knowing of Naruto's great ambition, and Naruto basically going along with it as a scroll with so much power should give him a lot of power. Naruto would steal a scroll, instead learning and writing down a few jutsu. First, he would learn the multi-shadow clone jutsu, just like in canon, but he would also write down a few jutsu. In particular, the Edo Tensei jutsu, the Rasengan, the Chidori, and the wind-style air bullet. Not only that, but he was also able to write down the summoning jutsu, which was a bit complicated, but he felt that he could maybe get a grasp on it. Naruto would then hand the scroll over to Mizuki, but it was not actually the scroll. Instead, it was a rock disguised as a scroll. Naruto was actually using Mizuki, and not the other way around. Mizuki had been fooled. Naruto would hold the scroll as he would toss it to Mizuki, but like I stated, it was not the scroll. Mizuki would catch it, seeing it and holding it, it felt very heavy, as he would dismiss it. A scroll with many jutsu within, a scroll with many pages, should be pretty heavy. But this heavy, Mizuki thought, but like I said, he would dismiss it. Naruto would smirk as he would tell Mizuki that he thanks him for letting him learn so much jutsu. Mizuki would raise an eyebrow at this, as Naruto would explain. That is merely a rock. Naruto would then put his hands together to form the rat hand seal, as the rock would now be in Mizuki's hands. Mizuki would immediately drop the rock out of shock, as he would look to Naruto, now enraged that he had been fooled by a mere kid, by somebody who wasn't even a genin and a mere academy student, as Naruto's eyes would turn a bright pinkish color. Mizuki would drop his jaw at what he was seeing in front of him, a boy with stark blonde hair and pink eyes. Mizuki would turn his head as Naruto would ask what's wrong, as Mizuki would explain, your eyes, they are pink. Naruto would basically widen his eyes as he would drop his jaw as well. Naruto would then look through his belongings, as he would basically find a kunai that he had been playing with for training and basically been figuring out how to use earlier that day. Naruto would then see his reflection with it, as he saw that his eyes were pink. Naruto would smirk. Pretty cool, don't you think? Mizuki wouldn't really know what to say, as he'd be at a loss for words. Cool, he did not think it was, but interesting, he definitely felt it was. Mizuki would tell Naruto that though he has maybe unlocked some sort of dojutsu, he is no match for a Chunin, especially since Naruto's only a genin. Naruto would laugh. I'm not your average genin. I've been training for years to become Hokage. Hokage, do you really think that you can become Hokage? Do you think that the people will like you as their leader, the person who took everything from them? What do you mean, Mizuki? Naruto would ask. As Mizuki would explain, you are the Nine Tails. And this is where Naruto would figure out such a secret. Now, Naruto, hearing this, wouldn't really know what to do, and in his confusion, he would summon the same amount of clones that he had in canon. And, well, Mizuki is defeated. Iruka would arrive, but he would just arrive to see Naruto defeating Mizuki in this timeline. He's not already there and hasn't already been injured and things of the sort. As he was just at a loss of words for how many Shadow Clones Naruto created and how powerful he was, especially for a mere academy student, and somebody who was going on to become a Genin. Later that day/night, whatever you want to call it, Naruto would become a Genin. And because Naruto did learn chakra control, he is going to pass still, right? But my thing is that I still do not see Naruto being even close to the #1 ninja. I still see him being at the bottom of the barrel, and you may ask me why. This Naruto should be very powerful. He has the strength, he has the speed, etc., etc. Strength, speed, and chakra control are not the only things that you need to become a ninja. You need smarts. When you are put on a test, you are supposed to regurgitate the information that you learned in school. Naruto is not a learner, per se. He is more of a fighter, right? So he's still going to get marks. That does not mean he's the worst academy student, but it does mean that he is the lowest ranked, especially in smarts. Naruto would be looked at as not the lowest of the low, but he would be looked at as the lowest academy student. I hope that makes sense, that everybody would view Naruto as pretty strong, but everybody would also view Naruto as the lowest ranking academy student. And I hope I was able to word that in a way that you guys would all be able to understand. So, Naruto still gets put on Team 7 with Sasuke and Sakura. I know some of you may not like Sakura, but she was put on the team by the series creator for a reason. Anyhow, Naruto would then see his sensei, as he would basically get a good understanding about what his sensei was like, at least appearance-wise, as he just saw Kakashi as being a very secluded person, a very, like, disguised person, kind of, like, quiet, things of the sort. As we now skip to the bell test, as I do believe that the introductions would go the same. With that being said, Naruto would stare down his soon-to-be sensei as he would get ready to fight, pulling out the kunai that he had saw his reflection with earlier, and smirking. Kakashi Hatake it was it not? Well, get ready for the greatest fight of your life. And with that being said, this has been What If Naruto had an Ancient Dojutsu Part 1. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Make sure to like, share the video to a friend, like what ifs, or just anime content in general. Subscribe to my second channel, 𝘎𝙈𝙊𝙃, where I also post what ifs and discussion videos. But with that being said, 𝘎𝙈𝙃. Oh, quick thing before this video starts. Today is my birthday, August 31st, so I might be streaming today. I'd probably call it a birthday stream. But with that out of the way, I'd appreciate it if you guys would, say happy birthday to me. That would just make me happy. But with that out of the way, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video, and hope it's up to par with a birthday vid. Anyway, enjoy. 𝘎𝙁𝙃 back with another video. If you guys all enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, share the video to a friend who likes videos, or just anime content in general. Subscribe if you're new here, as I want to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of August, or sorry, September. But with that being said, check out my second channel down below, 𝘎𝙁𝙃, and we can now get into the recap. Basically, in the last part, we left off with Naruto declaring that Kakashi will have the greatest fight of his life with him. I don't know if that's true or not. You don't know either, so I guess you just have to see in the video. But with that being said, and the recap out of the way, we can now fully get into the video. Naruto would stare down his sensei as he would look deeply within Kakashi's eyes. Or should I say eyes? Kakashi only showed one of his eyes to Naruto. Naruto would look at this as he thought to himself, what was beneath his mask? Naruto would tell Kakashi that he wants to figure out what's beneath his mask, as Kakashi would laugh. It's just a plain old face. Naruto would shake his head. Somebody who is at least Jonin level, and somebody who seems to be mysterious, must be hiding something important under that mask, don't you think? Something important? My, You're very observant. Well, anybody could figure that out as long as they thought hard enough. I suppose. Well, I guess you'll just have to unmask me, don't you think, Naruto? Unmask you? Fine. I'll play your game. Naruto will then pull out the kunai that he had in his hands before when he basically, was fighting Mizuki. And he would use this kunai to attack Kakashi. Kakashi would now clash with Naruto, kunai to kunai, as Kakashi would be, surprised at how strong Naruto was. His strength came from Naruto's strength training and in no way was related to his dojutsu or any of his true inner power. But, it's a power-up nevertheless, and Naruto is very strong here. Anyhow, Naruto would then push back Kakashi, which Kakashi would now be even more surprised about, as Kakashi would decide that he's no longer holding back, especially if Naruto is so powerful enough to push him back. Kakashi would then use a jutsu on Naruto to see if Naruto would be able to react. To see if Naruto had any jutsu up his own sleeve to use against him. Naruto would then use a jutsu, the jutsu being the wind-style air bullet, which somehow came to him. Kakashi was interested in how Naruto knew the wind chakra nature, and was also very surprised as he then saw Naruto's eyes turn pink. Naruto would then put together a few hand signs. Naruto would look at his hands as his eyes would widen. He hadn't even known the jutsu that he was about to cast. Water then would start to chase Kakashi from each side of Naruto, as Naruto would then watch as his hands would move on their own, and another jutsu would be fired off. A wind-style jutsu would surround the water, basically adding more force to it and enhancing its velocity and striking damage. This would cause the water style to now be even faster, as Kakashi now had to deal with two angles as he would create a shadow clone to use two fire-style jutsus. Kakashi would then do so, as he realized that fire style would only make it worse since he forgot about Naruto, adding wind style to the jutsu, as he would then, in a last-ditch effort, create an earth-style Great Mud Wall, which he, in theory, should have, as he doesn't know all 5 chakra natures, so if you don't believe me, look it up. And, yeah. But, with that being said, Kakashi would now be surprised at how Naruto knew A, a combination jutsu, B, wind style, and C, water style, in a way it made no sense. Naruto would then look at his hands as he thought of how he was able to use such a jutsu. And then he pulled out his kunai to figure something out. He then looked at himself with the reflection of the kunai as he realized that those eyes had appeared again. The eyes that he was somehow able to use so frequently. The eyes that even Mizuki, a Chunin, picked up on. What power could these eyes hold within them, Naruto would ask. Naruto would then watch as Kakashi would appear behind him, ready to basically knock out Naruto, as somehow Naruto was able to do a backflip just in the right moment and at the right time. Something that Kakashi was able to pick up on himself with his Sharingan, which, yes, is always active, and even though he does cover it, it is still always active. That's why it drains a lot. But anyhow, he would then realize this as he wondered if Naruto had some sort of dojutsu. Most people, especially people with blonde hair, don't have pink eyes. But not only that, but this eye looks similar to the Byakugan. What could it be, Naruto thought? 2 black dots would then appear within the eye, as Naruto would now see everything. He would be able to see every movement, every breath, and every muscle that Kakashi moved. It was so odd. Naruto could even see an eye under Kakashi's mask. 3 black dots would now appear within Naruto's dojutsu, as he would be able to see what looked to be like a red eye with 3 tomoe within it. We know this dojutsu as the Sharingan, and Naruto knows it as the Sharingan as well. Though Naruto hadn't picked up much from the academy, he did know the eye that belongs to the Uchiha clan, and Sasuke had frequently talked about it, even though he didn't talk to many students that often. Naruto would then question this as he would ask Kakashi why he has the Sharingan. Sasuke's eye would widen as he heard Naruto say this, raising an eyebrow at this claim as he would launch an Uchiha-style Great Fireball Jutsu. Kakashi would immediately counter with his own Fireball, which would overwhelm Sasuke's. Sasuke would mistakenly take this as Kakashi actually having the Uchiha-style Great Fireball Jutsu, and would say and ask, "Are you an Uchiha?" Kakashi would quickly shake his head no. Nothing of the sort. I was gifted this. Kakashi would then lift up his headband, as Sasuke would be in awe at seeing his clan's dojutsu within Kakashi's eyes. This is known as the Sharingan. A dear friend of mine gave it to me as a gift and a memento. But what? How? You're not an Uchiha, then why do you have that eye? My friend gave it to me. Was I not clear? Yeah, but how are you able to use it? The Sharingan drains so much chakra. Well, I have a lot of chakra. At least a decent amount of it. Nowhere near his, though. Nowhere near whose? Him, Naruto. Your squad mate? Oh yeah. Really? But you're a Jonin. He's only a Genin. Same rank as me and Sakura. So why would he have so much chakra? Wait, what? Naruto thought, as he didn't really know what was going on, as Kakashi would explain. Naruto just has high reserves. You could say that he was lucky enough to get them, and that is a very good asset, especially in battle. I see. Kakashi would then activate a jutsu, that being the water-style water dragon jutsu, which would basically hit Sasuke, sending him flying into a tree and knocking him out. Kakashi would then appear behind Sakura, chopping her in the back of the neck and knocking her out. Sasuke would then appear in front of Naruto, telling Naruto that he has a dojutsu. He's sure of it. What the dojutsu gives the wielder, he is not too sure about. It's nothing like what he's ever seen before. Even the Byakugan and other dojutsus that he's seen look nothing like it. So he would tell Naruto this. That power of yours, it is great. It seemed like you were just as shocked as I was to see that you had another chakra nature mastered. And to see that the jutsu you used was a combination style jutsu. Heck, the jutsu even activating was a surprise to both me and you, was it not? Yeah, it was. How did you know? Well, I have the Sharingan. It can pick up on things like that. Wait, can it pick up on breaths? Muscles moving, and even words? Yeah, why? I think I have the Sharingan. Kakashi would laugh. No, you don't. I'm sure of it. But why do you think such a thing? My eyes, they did the same thing. I could see everything. I could see your breath. I could see your muscles move. I could even see that Sharingan under your mask. Or headband, or whatever's covering it. I see. So that's how you were able to point it out. Well, it looks like you have 2 skills. The ability to pick up on my breathing, to see it even, and the ability to pick up on the slightest movements of my muscles. You could call that advanced perception in a way. That is a similar ability to the Sharingan, but the ability to see my Sharingan and to see through the headband I have covering it, well, that is more akin to the Hyuga's Byakugan. Wait, I have the Byakugan, then. No. My bad. The Byakugan does not have such abilities. It only is one of the two that you were able to access. And that chakra that you just used, the jutsu, I mean, well, maybe your dojutsu grants you the ability of water style? Huh, I never thought about it like that. Well, now that your comrades, or both of your teammates, are knocked out, I want to ask you a question, Naruto. What's that question? What is your goal? My goal is to become Hokage. And how do you think you're gonna go about doing so? I never really thought about that, but, you know, I'll fight strong opponents and eventually get recognized by the village to be strong enough to lead it. That's not how one becomes Hokage. That's kinda simple. One becomes Hokage by doing a lot of things, but you must have experience. Experience? Yes, experience. I see. Now, Naruto, do you think that teamwork is key to becoming Hokage? Naruto would shake his head. I think that anybody can do anything, as long as they put their mind to it. But without teamwork at all along the way, well, of course teamwork will be needed across the way. You still need your friends, people you can rely on to help you. I hope to get friends on missions. I hope to build trust between my comrades. Even though it may not look like it, I strive to be able to protect both Sasuke and Sakura. And in the end, I hope that they can become the best of friends with me. Well, isn't that a nice goal? Yeah, I'd say it kinda is. But besides that, what's your goal, Kakashi-sensei? My goal? I actually don't have one. Really? You don't have a goal? Yeah. Maybe it's just to see the next generation thrive. But now that you've answered my question, I'll ask your teammates. You'll ask your teammates the same thing? Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah. And if they give the same response, then you pass. Naruto's jaw would drop. But that's not fair, is it? Teamwork. If they don't think that teamwork is required to obtain their goals, heck, if they don't think that teamwork is required to do anything in life, and really, that they don't think that they have to depend on anybody to get anywhere, well then I don't see them as being worthy to become shinobi and to wear the crest of Konohagakure within, I guess you could say, on their headbands. I see. Naruto would then get into a kneeling-like position as he would pray that Sakura and Sasuke would answer correctly to Kakashi. Sasuke, upon waking up, would basically, get his bearings and would, be able to figure out his surroundings as he would answer Kakashi's question, saying yes, in some situations teamwork is needed, but in others, a man's will can decide the battle entirely. At least, that's what he thinks. Kakashi would immediately then put Sasuke under a genjutsu, which Sasuke would fall into due to his lack of, I guess you could say, genjutsu protection, in a way. Kakashi would then wake up Sakura, as Sakura would give an answer that goes as follows. To achieve my dreams, you say, Kakashi? Do I need teamwork? No, I just need determination. Determination? Kakashi would raise an eyebrow. Yeah. Sakura would then look at Sasuke, blushing, as she would continue. I just need determination, and I need somebody else to say yes to me. Say yes. What an interesting dream, Kakashi thought to himself. In a way, piecing the picture together and, figuring out that Sakura likes Sasuke. Kakashi would then wake up Sasuke as he would say that they all fail. But there was one more chance to redeem themselves. If they eat food and, well, they don't share with Sakura, then they can become ninja. Naruto and Sasuke knew this would be a walk in the park, as Sakura would be, well, tied to the tree stump instead of Naruto. Naruto and Sasuke would then eat their food in front of Sakura as they would start to hear her stomach growl. They would then start to take pity on Sakura as Naruto would look at Sasuke, somebody who had determination on his face as he ate a few pieces of rice from his lunchbox. Naruto would be at a loss of words. He didn't know what to do. Save his comrade and, well, not be able to become a ninja, be even farther away from his goal of becoming Hokage, be even farther away from achieving his dream, or don't do anything. Let somebody who he at one point considered his comrade starve. Naruto would, well, be lost, as he would act upon his own instinct. He would act upon his first reaction. Naruto would immediately put his lunchbox in front of Sakura, as Sakura, with her arms tied, wouldn't really be able to eat the food, so Naruto would kind of have to feed her. Yeah. But with that being said, I do see Sakura taking the food, even though Naruto's the one feeding her, because she has shown that she doesn't really like Naruto, and Naruto in this timeline isn't really worried about liking her that much. Like, he doesn't really care about Sakura that much, and we have seen Naruto admit that, well, let's just say he was liking Sakura for the wrong reasons. And here I'm just going to say for the story that Naruto does not like Sakura at all, and that this isn't really that awkward for Naruto. Sasuke would then do the same, seeing that Naruto was okay with not becoming a ninja, as Kakashi would immediately appear, saying that they all, as a great pause would be, played, if you will. A great pause would foreshadow them all, as they knew what was to come. They were going to fail. You all pass. This would bring joy to all of their faces, as Kakashi would cut the rope tying Sakura to the stump, and Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would now officially become genin, passing the bell test. Here we would see them all return home, take a good sleep, get some rest, and come back to the training spot the next day, where they would do D-rank missions with Kakashi from that day on for a few weeks. Eventually, Naruto and Sasuke would get bored of these. Yeah, Naruto knew that he needed experience, like Kakashi had told him to, a lesson that he knew he would need in the future, but D-rank missions weren't where he was going to get that experience. And Naruto actually had so much energy that he was able to train on trying to master this hidden power of his, this hidden dojutsu was his. So he would do meditation, which would be able to bring out his dojutsu sometimes, but only for brief moments. Anyhow, eventually Naruto and Sasuke would ask for a C-rank mission, as Naruto would gladly give them one, knowing their strengths and, knowing how powerful their sensei was and things of the sort, knowing that they'd be alright and that they've done enough D-rank missions to deserve one. So, we do get the Land of Waves mission with Tazuna, where Naruto would be a bit suspicious of Tazuna, thinking that Tazuna hadn't told them all to the story, especially after being attacked by the Demon Brothers, as it seemed a bit fishy that Tazuna wouldn't know. But then again, Tazuna's just some old geezer, if you will. Kakashi also thought the same thing, that Tazuna wasn't telling them something, maybe even crucial information to getting the job done, if you will. Anyhow, they would then arrive at the Mist Village, as I do see the first confrontation with Zabuza going the same, but not the second. The second would go much differently, or much more different, if you will. As Naruto and Team 7 will be working on the bridge until two figures would appear, Zabuza and Haku. Naruto would clench his fist, ready to show his sensei what he was capable of, what he was capable of on the battlefield, not just fighting him. What he was capable of when his opponent was aiming to kill. Naruto would squint his eyebrows, and his eyes would dilate. The pupils within, not the eyes themselves. Naruto would stare fearlessly, at his opponents. Who were his opponents? Zabuza and Haku. Naruto would then grab his trusty kunai, which he's had, since day one, even against Mizuki, as he would rush towards his foes, Zabuza and Haku. And with that being said, this has been What If Naruto Had an Ancient Dojutsu Part 2. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Hope the speed of this What If is going pretty fast, but not too slow, not too fast, just a good pace. But with that being said, make sure to like, share the video to a friend like so this, or just stay in the content in general. Subscribe if you're new here, as I want to hit 9,000 subscribers by the end of August, before to get by the end of the year. And with that being said, check out my second channel down below, where I also post What Ifs, as you should know by now. But with that being said, Rami X. Rami X back with another video. Because I'll enjoy today's video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, especially if you are new to the channel, as I want to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of September. But with that being said, make sure to like, share the video to a friend, like What Ifs, or just anime content in general, subscribe to new here. And if I didn't already say this, check out my second channel down below, Rami X, where I also post What Ifs and discussion videos. But with that out of the way, we can now get into the recap. So in the last part, What If Naruto and Ancient Dojutsu Part 3, or Part 2, my bad. This is Part 3, just so you guys know and are aware. But with that being said, in the last part, What If Naruto and Ancient Dojutsu Part 2, we left off with Naruto basically getting ready to fight Zabuza and Haku, and that's basically self-explanatory, so we'll pick up from there. Naruto now clenched his fist as he stared into the eyes of Zabuza. Not Haku, but Zabuza, the person who he saw as more as a threat, but also he could not really stare into the eyes of Haku, as Haku's face was covered by a mask, though potentially you could say his eyes were truly what was behind the mask. Depends on your perception, or, your interpretation. But Naruto's interpretation was that he was looking at the bigger threat, the bigger person and the stronger person, at least in his mind, that being Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the Mist Village, former 7 ninja swordsman who carries the executioner's blade at his side, a blade that can heal with blood. Anyhow, Naruto would then start to walk towards Zabuza, as Zabuza would smirk, grabbing his blade. "Get out of my way, kid," Zabuza would ask, as Naruto would continue to walk forward, now pulling a fist back, getting ready to punch Zabuza. Zabuza would say that he doesn't like to kill kids, but when they get in his way, it can't be helped. Naruto would continue to walk forward, as his punch would now be fully pulled back. He would then hit Zabuza before Zabuza could unsheathe his blade, as Zabuza would be sent flying. The punch behind Naruto's blow, or the strength behind it, was unimaginable, at least to Zabuza. For a mere child to have, it was insane. And Kakashi was also surprised at this. Was Naruto holding back during his fight? Because if he was, that would explain why his punch was able to send Zabuza flying so much. And maybe it's just me, but Zabuza seems like he's heavier than Kakashi. Yeah. But anyhow, back to the story. Naruto would then look over to Zabuza's subordinate, as he would ask him or her, as he didn't know the true identity of the person, if they think that Zabuza is still alive. Haku would nod his head yes. "I think that Master Zabuza is still alive. He wouldn't die so easily. Not at all." I see. Well then, thank you for the knowledge. Naruto would then put together a few hand signs, as he would use a jutsu that he had learned while training on unlocking his Dojutsu. And while those short instances that I talked about in the last part, where Naruto was able to unlock his Dojutsu through his meditation, he would spend that time training to learn jutsu with water style and wind style, like combination jutsus and things like that, as Naruto would use one. Naruto called this jutsu Water Wind Tornado. Wind would start to form from the ground as they were very close to waves, so it was very easy for Naruto to manipulate a large amount of water. This water would then start to form a tornado-like size or stature. It would basically form a tornado, as Naruto would use wind to create an actual tornado. Both of these tornadoes would then merge, creating a wind tornado of sorts, which would be very powerful. Naruto would then send this wind tornado towards Zabuza and in Zabuza's direction, as Haku would appear in front of Naruto's attack, now launching his own defensive jutsu to protect Master Zabuza, quote-unquote. Ice style. Magnificent rock dome of nothingness, Haku would say, as a massive dome would appear that would protect Zabuza and would defend against the attack, or so Haku thought. The dome would be broken, but the tornado's speed had vastly decreased. Zabuza was now up and aware of his surroundings as he would cut the tornado in half. The tornado would now be sliced in two due to Zabuza's strength and force that he was able to, push out and into the attack, or into Naruto's attack. So what would end up happening is that the remnants of the attack would destroy behind Zabuza, but Zabuza was left unscathed because he was able to cut through the attack with his blade. But back onto the fight. Zabuza would then tell Naruto that he was a fool to think that he could ever punch him and get away with it. Even if he's a kid, he chose the life of a ninja, so he should know what comes with it. What comes with it? Naruto would ask. What do you think comes with it? You're pretty knowledgeable, I must say. At least you look it. And that blade? Well, I'm not too sure about it, but it looks like it belongs to somebody noble or somebody special. Were you once somebody special? I suppose you could say that, Zabuza would say. I thought I would be right about that. Look at it. Look at that blade. It's massive. And, well, you're a rogue ninja, judging by your headband. Anyway, I just knew a massive blade like that had to belong to somebody special, or at least formerly special. Get to the point, kid. Before I rip you apart, you did just punch me. I have a question. You said I signed up for this, or something like that, because I chose to be a ninja. What does being a ninja mean for you? I want to understand my enemy first, before I destroy my enemy. Do you really think that you can destroy me? I'm sure that if I put my mind to it, that if I work my hardest, that if I use teamwork and use my own willpower, I can easily defeat somebody like you. I suppose we'll have to see about that. But I suppose I can also answer your question. In my land, when you become a ninja and you join the academy, on the day of graduation, it is not a happy day. Why is that? Becoming a ninja was amazing for me and my comrades. Why not you and maybe even yours? Comrades, all the people who I had grown to love and care for within my academy class, I had to kill. Naruto would be at awe at this as he would grit his teeth. Had to kill? No, you lie. Everybody is in control of themselves, unless they're put under a genjutsu. Unless their mind is being taken advantage of. Unless their body is being used as if they were a puppet. No, you wouldn't understand. You are not from the Mist Village. You do not know what it is like. Naruto would be taken aback by this as he would decide to listen. Go on, Zabuza. That is your name, is it not? I realized that blade, that rogue mist ninja, headband, and a few other things look similar to somebody I saw on the paper. A swordsman, I think. One of the 7 ninja swordsmen. Momochi Zabuza. Yes, that's me, but will you let me continue before I have to destroy you? Contrary to what you said, I don't think you can destroy me, so I'll be destroying you. Regurgitating statements, I see. Well, would you like to continue? I suppose. If you want to advance and become a ninja, what most people strive for in the 𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙏𝙃 village, where I come from, well, then you are forced to defeat every one of your fellow academy students. You must kill them. I wish I knew that before I befriended most of them, if not all of them. Then it would have been less painful, as I took my blade and cut through them. Why would you do such a thing? I was forced. Don't you understand yet? Don't you understand what I'm trying to say, Naruto? How did you know my name? What? How? How did you know my name? Naruto would say. 𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙃𝙃 would raise an eyebrow at what Naruto had said. You told me your name earlier. Oh. You see, Naruto had actually told 𝙎𝙈𝙃's name when they had first met in their first encounter, which I explained that they did have their first encounter, like in canon, and this is their second encounter, like they had their first encounter in the second part. I explained that. And yeah, Naruto would then remember as he would calm down. I see. Well, would you like to continue? Would you like to continue? You were saying something. Oh, no, I'm fine. You go. Well, I was forced to do that. Tears filled my eyes as I had to defeat the people who I had grown to love, the people who I had grown to care for. You could call it sick and twisted fate. You could call it many words, actually. But, to be honest, I suppose that not everything in life is fair. You can't choose anything that you want to be true. Sometimes you must be able to create a reality for yourself. Before I defeat you, as I know I will kill you, and your team, do you have a goal, a dream, or something that you look forward to? Because if you do, and it's very simple, I might be able to accomplish it for you. My goal is not simple in the slightest. That's why I don't plan on dying before I accomplish it. I want to become Hokage. Whoa. You, some runt? Yeah, I may be a runt. Heck, I may even be weak. I may have placed, well, as the worst academy student. But mark my words, one day, that hat that all the Hokage wear will be on my head. And I will be up there. Up where? With all of those Hokage who are on this stone mountain. How their faces are engraved, always watching over the village that they were sworn to protect. No, that they are sworn to protect. I will protect everything and everyone. Do you think that you can do that all on your own? Do you think you'll never run into somebody who's stronger, better, faster? I do. And when I find that person, I'll gather up my strength. I'll muster up everything I have within to defeat them. 𝙎𝙈𝙃 would smirk. Well, you've earned my respect. I'll make sure to bury you when I defeat you. Now, 𝙎𝙈𝙃 would then fly right past Naruto as he would put away his blade. Anime style, if you will. Naruto would then fall on his knees, coughing up some blood, as he now had a wound basically going from his right shoulder to his stomach. Naruto had been cut by 𝙎𝙈𝙃's blade, and it was a severe injury, which was leaking blood fast. Naruto had also started to internal bleed, which is why he coughed up blood. Naruto is now on his knees as he looked up in the sky, asking for help, praying for it even, hoping and praying for the strength that he would be able to defeat such a foe that stood so high above him, that he'd be able to defeat a foe that was so powerful that he made Naruto fall to his knees in an instant, to be able to defeat a foe that... Something rose up within Naruto as he paused. A red, ominous chakra would fill Naruto's wounds as a voice would speak to Naruto. Naruto would pass out, per se, from loss of blood as he would appear in a dark room. No windows, no light, just darkness and a cage with many bars and a seal within. Who are you? No, what are you? Naruto would ask as the beast would stare at Naruto. We know this beast as the nine-tailed fox. Naruto would scratch the back of his head as he would laugh. So you're the beast that Mizuki had told me about. You're the reason he thinks that I couldn't become Hokage. Well, what do you think? Do you think I can become Hokage? I do not care for such dreams of normal people. I do not care for such dreams of mortals. Then what are you if you don't care about dreams? Especially the dreams of mortals. I am chakra itself, created by Nine Tails, or Kurama, whatever you want to call him, would basically show his teeth as he would decide to not say who he was created by. We know his creator to be Hagoromo, the Sage of Six Paths, but Naruto doesn't know that, or Naruto doesn't need to know that, per se. Anyhow, the Nine Tails would then continue. You've been wounded. I heard your speech about becoming quote-unquote Hokage, about running into an enemy that you'd have to muster up your inner strength to beat. I am inside of you. I see, Naruto would say. So are you saying that you're my inner strength? I am not your inner strength. Not in the slightest. I am merely something that resides in you for the moment. Kurama would grit his teeth. I will break you apart limb from limb, and I will escape this seal that wretched fourth Hokage placed on me. Smoke would drift away from Kurama's mouth. How angry was he? Naruto thought to himself as sweat would drip down his forehead. Wait, you mentioned fourth Hokage. Did he do this to you? Did he put you within my body? Yes, why? Wait, what? That makes no sense. Why me? Does he really not know? Kurama thought to himself. His teeth showing as they were wide as a feline or a cat or a fox. A giant fox. It's none of your concern, boy. Now, do you want power or not? Do I want power? I can give you the power that you need to defeat this Zabuza. Really? Well, then I accept. I need to defeat him. He endangers my squad. Well, then come here. Accept my power. Naruto's body would be surrounded with red chakra as Naruto would feel as if he was suffocating. This chakra would then seep into Naruto's body as Naruto in the real world, or out of his subconscious, would awaken, his eyes now slit-like and pink. Why? Naruto would say, as he would stand up, looking behind him and now at the Zabuza, who was now confused at how Naruto was able to stand from such an injury. This is no ordinary boy, Zabuza thought to himself. Why did you think that one mere slash from your blade could defeat me? Zabuza's eyes would widen. What is this? Zabuza would drop his blade as he felt the presence of the Nine Tails. Even people as great as Shin Uchiha, who far outclasses this Zabuza, was scared of the Nine Tails' presence. So, no wonder Zabuza dropped his blade. Zabuza would look around as he realized the situation he was in, and realized that Naruto's subordinates were fighting Haku, and he was still dealing with this runt. But said runt was able to survive a cut from him that would wound any person, adult or kid. Zabuza would grit his teeth as he would put his blade out in front of him, now pushing chakra onto his blade. Zabuza would then pull back his blade for a final cut as he would push it into Naruto, or jab it into him, whatever you want to call it. Naruto would take this blow as it would send him flying, as he would quickly appear back in front of Zabuza. You'll need to do a little more than that. Zabuza would smirk. Well, then I will. Zabuza would push now all of his chakra into the blade, as he would slam it into Naruto, as Naruto would catch it with 4 of his fingers, now holding onto this blade. His 5th finger, or his thumb to be more exact, would be under the blade as he got a grip on the blade. Naruto would then crush the blade in half as Zabuza's sword would fall to the ground. Naruto would smirk as he would tell Zabuza that he was right. He could destroy him with his inner power. But Naruto doesn't know what this... Naruto's body felt as if it was now not in control. The Nine-Tails was so powerful that it was able to control Naruto. Naruto's will wasn't strong enough, or so the Nine-Tails thought. Naruto would grit his teeth as he would start to get control over the Nine-Tails yet again, the Nine-Tails' power. Naruto would realize that even though the Nine-Tails had offered him the power, he needed to control it, and if he didn't, then the beast that lurked within him would be let loose. If this beast was why Mizuki thought he couldn't become Hokage, then he needed to get a grip on its power. He needed to show the people that it could be tamed. Naruto's eyes would widen as he would grit his teeth even harder. Now, his mouth would start to bleed. We've commonly seen many people do this, as they grit their teeth so hard that their mouths would start to bleed. And this would happen with Naruto. Naruto would then get a grip as we would see Naruto defeat Zabuza. Zabuza's blade would fall, and Naruto would now stand over Zabuza, with the Nine-Tails taking control as he would grab Zabuza's blade. This is now the Nine-Tails doing this and emulating his emotions, if you will, through Naruto. Naruto, as Kurama, if you will, would then be about to stab Zabuza as Haku would get in the way, punching Naruto. Naruto would be hit by this attack as it would merely only tilt Naruto's head. Naruto would then put his head back into position as he stared calmly at Haku. Naruto would then grit his teeth as he looked into the sky, his eyes now rolling into the back of his head as he would fall on his knees, and then his whole body would collapse. He would pass out. On the other hand here, Haku and Zabuza have now been defeated and the battle has come to a close. Since Haku was just fighting Kakashi, Sasuke, and Sakura, he was already pretty worn out, and now that he's been stabbed by Naruto, kinda Kurama, hard to explain, I guess you could say, both, if you will, he is now on his last legs, and now on the ground beside Zabuza, as they have both fallen. Zabuza would ask Haku how he had been defeated, as Haku would explain, or how he'd been defeated, as Haku would explain. Zabuza would be surprised, as he would smirk. It appears that I could not carry out my dream. It appears that Yagura will not be stopped by me. Maybe another warrior will kill him. Maybe somebody else chosen by fate will emerge. I thought this boy was just some ordinary kid. But it turns out he's the Jinchuriki of the Leaf Village. Jinchuriki. Everybody around Zabuza thought, except for Kakashi, of course, as at this current moment, Sakura, Sasuke, and Tazuna are all around Naruto, and Zabuza as well as Haku. Naruto would then wake up as he would look into the sky, immediately passing out as he was too tired to even look around and muster up the strength to speak. Zabuza would then continue. That chakra he used is so similar to the Mizukage's. It seems that I was careless. I let a kid defeat me. He wasn't an ordinary kid, like you said. It's not defeat. It's merely a loss. That's defeat, Haku. Don't worry, it's okay. But I don't know. Do you think that we'll die here? Maybe. That depends on what will happen. Naruto would then fully awake, eyes wide, as his Uzumaki healing had, kicked in. As he would look around, seeing Zabuza and standing frantically, Naruto would then drop to one knee as he would grab his stomach area, as he had realized that his wound hadn't fully healed, and that it was only starting to close due to his Uzumaki healing regen, and the Nine Tails' effects due to the cloak that was on Naruto. Naruto would grit his teeth as he would stand to his feet, putting his hand in front of Zabuza. What are you doing, kid? Stand up and fight for the village. What village? I'm not joining your crappy village, if that's what you're saying. No, not at all, though I do not agree. Our village is splendid, amazing, exciting, extraordinary. But I want you to protect this village. What? Zabuza would yell out, surprised that Naruto would even make a claim. Do you mean the land of waves? Yes. Hell no, I'm not becoming their leader. Yeah, do it. Atone for your sins. You talked to me earlier, and I understand that you have a goal. Maybe you can accomplish it faster, with people at your side. I was once taught by my sensei. Do you agree that my sensei is powerful? Yes, why? Do you agree that powerful people know and have knowledge? Great knowledge, in fact? Well, I'm powerful, so yes. Well, then you should believe me. He told me that teamwork is necessary for a ninja to accomplish their dreams. Kakashi would smile under his mask, knowing that Naruto had truly taken to heart everything that he had said. As Naruto would continue, so, why not build up ninja, get ninja, and create a village strong enough and something worth protecting? I know you might not have the greatest relationship with your subordinate here, but maybe he'll keep you running. Maybe knowing that he's alive will keep you alive. And knowing that you now have more than just him to protect. Knowing that you have a whole village to protect. It will help you survive, help you accomplish your goal faster. Zabuza would smirk. You know what, kid? You're right. I'll become this village's Kage. And with that, Zabuza will become the Mist Village's Kage, with Haku being his Kage subordinate, and the Hidden Ways Village just getting a lot of, more ninja, since people are going to start becoming ninja. People from outside of the Hidden Ways are going to start becoming ninja. Bandits are going to start becoming ninja, but there's still Gato. Gato will be easily dealt with by Team 7. I see no reason why he wouldn't be, as he was kind of in canon, though you could say Zabuza attributed to a lot of the casualties in that fight against Gato, but it really just depends on your standpoint on it or your viewpoint. But with that being said, I do see the Leaf Ninja, that being Team 7, now returning to the Leaf Village, or the Hidden Leaf Village, whatever you want to call it. But anyhow, I see all the events of the canon going normally from here to the Forest of Death, as the writing exam, or the written exams, would still go the same, and things of the sort. Anyhow, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would now be running through the forest, as they would feel a presence like none other, an evil and monstrous presence. We know this presence to be that of one of the legendary Sannin, Orochimaru. This presence would then stop in front of them, as Naruto would pause, telling his team to pause as well, as they would slowly advance. Now in front of them was a man with black hair that was very long, pale skin, snake-like vibes, if you will, and interesting eyes, to say the least. Naruto stared down this person, who he didn't know if he could call him even a person, but person nonetheless. As Naruto would clench his fist, and this person would lick their lips. And with that being said, this has been What If Naruto Had an Ancient Dojutsu Part 3. Hope you guys all enjoyed. Make sure to like, share the video with a friend, like, so this, or just anime content in general. Subscribe if you're new here, as I want to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of September. But with that being said, check out my channel down below. My second channel, where I also post what ifs and discussion videos, and Rami X. Oh. Rami X background editor. If you guys all enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, especially if you are new here or just haven't hit the subscribe button. Like, what are you doing? No, I'm just playing. But check out my second channel down below, where I also post what is and discussion videos. But with that being said, let's get into the recap. In the last part, we basically left off with Naruto basically seeing eye to eye with Orochimaru, not in a psychology sense, but in a fighting term sense, if you get what I'm saying, as Sasuke and Sakura are both behind Naruto, and Naruto is in front of them, and in front of Naruto is Orochimaru, who has just licked his lips. And that concludes the recap, as we can now fully enter the story. Orochimaru would ask who Naruto was, as Naruto would say that his name is Uzumaki Naruto. Orochimaru would then think to himself that it's odd that he looks so similar to the fourth Hokage, and that his name is Uzumaki. At least his surname / last name, whatever you want to call it. This would lead Orochimaru to believe that Naruto was the son of the fourth Hokage and Kushina Uzumaki, the former Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki, as most people did know that, well, Minato and Kushina were married and were about to have a child, but they didn't know who that child was, and not really too much about the specifics and things of the sort. But even if most people didn't know, I see Orochimaru knowing, as he was a pretty predominant figure in the Leafs, I guess you could say, lineup in a way. You know, he was a pretty high-ranking ninja. He knew a lot of secrets of the Leaf, things of the sort, so why wouldn't he know that, you know, Minato and Kushina had a child? But with that being said, Orochimaru would decide to test Naruto. Maybe, just maybe, Naruto could be a nice backup host, a nice, you know, backup in case Sasuke's body fails him. Since Uzumaki's are noted to have very strong life force, he should be able to pass the test of the curse mark and should be able to actually withstand it. So, if Sasuke fails, Naruto will be great. Anyhow, Orochimaru first needed to test if Naruto would be great, as he would immediately rush towards Naruto with a kunai in hand. Sasuke and Sakura would both be very fearful of Orochimaru, as they wouldn't even be able to move, just like him. Naruto would grit his teeth, as he was scared as well, but he knew that if he were to be scared, well, comrades, partners, whatever you want to call them, Sakura and Sasuke, were too fearful to even move, well, then it could jeopardize their ability to progress in the ninja system. And not only that, but they could, well, die, as Naruto sensed the bloodlust in the man who stood before him, or the thing that stood before him, because Naruto at this point is not aware of what and who Orochimaru is, at least not yet. Naruto would then rush towards Orochimaru, as Orochimaru would continue to rush towards them. Now, with a kunai in hand, both of them would clash, kunai to kunai. Naruto would look into the eyes of Orochimaru, as Orochimaru would release all of his bloodlust. This would cause Naruto to sweat a little, but he continued to prevail. He pushed forward. Naruto would then butt heads with Orochimaru, as he would kick Orochimaru down to the ground, but before Orochimaru could fully hit the ground, he would kick Orochimaru up into the air, and then slam him back into the ground, which would do damage to Orochimaru, but not too much. We've seen Orochimaru come back from much stronger attacks, and personally, he's just much durable. He's much more durable than just a few hits from Naruto up and down. Naruto would now stand in front of Orochimaru, eyes wider than a hawk, if you will. Naruto would then grab another kunai from his pocket, as he now had two kunai in his hands. Naruto would then flip these kunai, as we have seen kunai have this little, like, ring-like area. By that I mean how there's, like, a circle, and then the line that connects to the actual piece of the blade / kunai bit. So, like, he's basically just, like, flipping that around and around. So, both of the kunais in his hands are now spinning, as he would throw them towards Orochimaru with stark aim, or almost perfect aim. Orochimaru would block both of these, telling Naruto that he's not too bad with a kunai. Naruto would smirk, thanking Orochimaru for his praise, though he does not know, well, what that praise means, at least not yet. And by that, he just doesn't know if Orochimaru is strong enough to where Naruto would actually appreciate the praise, but either way, Naruto appreciates the praise. Naruto would then decide that he needs to end this fight quickly, as Orochimaru does seem to be a threat, at least to both of his comrades. Orochimaru would then stretch his head farther than Naruto had ever seen somebody even move their head, and would bite Sasuke on his neck. Sasuke would immediately fall to the ground in pain, and this would cause Sasuke to scream out. In pain and in frustration, anger, fear even, as Naruto would grit his teeth, knowing that his team was now fully endangered and that this guy was stronger than he looks. Naruto would muster up all the strength that he had in his body as something would appear in his hands. A sword. This sword was made entirely up of light, but it was a light blue, almost too blue. Naruto would somehow put electricity on this blade. We know this as the abilities granted by that Dojutsu that Naruto possesses, the ancient Dojutsu that he possesses. This is another one of its abilities, the ability to grant the user an unbreakable sword. And another one of its abilities are also in play here, the ability to use all 5 chakra natures, and Naruto's able to subconsciously use these and consciously use these, so it kind of just happened naturally, as Orochimaru would be in awe and in shock, as Naruto would pull out a kunai, looking at his eyes as he knew that he had activated his Dojutsu once more, and that most of his abilities that came out of nowhere were connected to the Dojutsu, which now made sense, and everything was kind of coming into full circle / full picture, whatever you want to call it. Orochimaru would be intrigued as he saw that Naruto had a Dojutsu, judging by his eyes turning a pinkish color. Orochimaru would then lick his lips yet again as Naruto would get an eerie feeling about Orochimaru. Naruto now grabbed the sword with both his hands, pushing most of his, strength into the blade and most of his chakra into the blade. Naruto would then clash with Orochimaru yet again as Orochimaru would use what is known as the snake sword. We have seen him use this in Shippuden, and it's actually pretty strong, able to pierce the body of a Four-Tails Naruto, so Naruto would be at a bit of a disadvantage here, but he would be able to hold his own. Naruto would continue to clash with Orochimaru. As their blades clashed, Naruto felt his strength diminish, so he knew that he had to end it quickly, but he had been knowing that he had to do that ever since the fight started, as he didn't want to waste any more time. Naruto would then stare at Orochimaru as he would then feel the Nine Tails' presence. Naruto's teeth would be enlarged, and his nails would extend, similar to a fox. Naruto's eyes would now become a slit-like color with pink around them, as Naruto would tell Orochimaru that he is no longer holding back. This is Naruto activating the Kyuubi's chakra, but it was somehow under control. It had seemed that the Dojutsu that Naruto had activated had been able to subdue the Nine Tails' lower forms, at least this little amount of chakra from the Nine Tails. Naruto would smirk as he would pull the blade back. He would then do a bit of a squat, as his lower body would now be pushed into the force of the blade as well. As some of you may know, when you push your lower body into a hit being a punch or a kick, you get a much stronger hit or punch than if you didn't do it. Same thing with the sword. Naruto would then fly towards Orochimaru, as Orochimaru would fly towards Naruto, snake sword at the ready. Naruto would then yell out that he's pushing all of his power into this one, as Orochimaru would speak. Even though that may be all of your power, you are merely a genin. Naruto would grit his teeth, as he would say that he knows that, but he cannot lose. Naruto would then roar out a battle cry or a cry of fear. Well, that is up to you to decide. Naruto would then pull the blade back as he would immediately cut into Orochimaru, slicing him right in half from the torso, and Orochimaru would be cut in half. Naruto wasn't done yet, though. He would pull his blade upwards, as he would now use both of his arms to cut Orochimaru into many little pieces. He wasn't sure if Orochimaru would completely die yet, as he did see Orochimaru somehow be able to revive himself. Naruto would then pull his blade back once more, as he would hold his blade there, while his hand would illuminate with light. What is this power? Naruto thought to himself, as his arm would move on its own. It was almost as if he had done this before. Naruto would then push his hand forward as Orochimaru's body would disintegrate with the light that Naruto had somehow been able to manifest, the light ball or the light orb. Naruto looked at his hand in awe and then looked back at the pieces of Orochimaru that remained, or the ashes to be more exact. Orochimaru's not dead here. We all know that. Well, to a degree. You see, Orochimaru can revive himself through curse marks. We have seen this happen, like when Sasuke killed Orochimaru, and he was able to revive himself through Sasuke's own curse mark. Now, we don't know if this is because Sasuke killed him or things of the sort, but for the sake of the story, Orochimaru is going to be able to do this, and I believe he already can, so yeah. He would revive himself through the curse mark of Kimimaro. Even though Kimimaro was, having his illness and stuff like that, it would just be a better body, and he would gain access to Kimimaro's abilities. Kimimaro would also not reject Orochimaru because, well, he gave his life for the cause, quote-unquote. So he is going to accept Orochimaru, basically stealing his body / coming back to life in it, whatever you want to call it. Anyhow, Naruto would then pant heavily as he had realized that he had defeated / killed / destroyed somebody who was a ninja from another land. And from what his headband said, he was from the grass village, which would mean that the leaf in the grass village could have war, since Naruto did kill one of their members, or one of their ninja, who was pretty skilled. But then again, Naruto didn't know if this guy was actually somebody who was a grass ninja. Maybe he was just a phony, a fake, whatever you want to call it. Naruto would then look behind him as he saw Sakura and Sasuke now normal and now at ease as Orochimaru, the threat of Orochimaru had now been diminished by Naruto. They would then continue to walk through the forest as Dojutsu and Kin do not really find them. They're going too fast for them to find them, and currently Sasuke's just being carried by Naruto. So that interaction with Dojutsu and Kin is not going to happen because they're just not going to be able to find Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. Naruto being carried, Sasuke being carried by Naruto, they would finish the forest to death, or they would basically pass, as Sakura would be right beside Naruto and Sasuke. Anyhow, Naruto would then ask to speak with the third Hokage, as they would. The third Hokage would basically asked Naruto why he wanted to speak with him, as Naruto would say that he had killed a member of the grass village. Orochimaru, as Hiruzen was at a loss of words. That man that you killed was not a grass ninja. Naruto would tilt his head. What do you mean? You mentioned his name, Orochimaru. Yeah? Why? Well, then he is no grass ninja. He is a rogue ninja of the Leaf Village. We've been trying to find him for a long time, but since you've killed him, well, he's not so much of a nuisance anymore. How did you do it? Orochimaru is very powerful, even for the likes of me. I don't know. My body, it did it on its own. I was somehow able to create a sword out of thin air, and light manifested on my palm, and I was able to disintegrate him. How interesting. I'm not truly sure if Orochimaru is dead, but good job, Naruto. I congratulate you on being able to deal with such a foe. Thank you. Or third, no problem. Now, get to the preliminaries. The preliminaries would go just as they did in canon. I see no reason why they're going to change. Sakura's still having a tiebreaker with Ino, no difference there, and everything's just going to go the same until we get to the actual shooting exams. So, the main fights that are actually going to change are, of course, Naruto versus Neji and Sasuke versus Gaara. But Naruto versus Neji is before Sasuke versus Gaara, so we're going to fast forward / skip to that fight. Naruto would jump down into the arena as Neji would do the same, telling Naruto that he is merely a nobody, a weakling, somebody with no power. Naruto would hear this as he would get his teeth, making sure that his anger was in control, making sure that he was in control. Naruto would look at Neji as he would smirk. I suppose you'll have to see what a weakling can do. No, what hard work can do. Naruto would now stare down Neji as a fight would ensue. Naruto would rush towards Neji as they would clash, hand to hand. How, Neji thought to himself. How was Naruto not falling to his knees in pain? Why was Naruto not being able to not use chakra anymore, as Neji was using the gentle fist, but Naruto was somehow able to keep up with Neji. Neji would then stare into Naruto's eyes as he would be taken aback and would actually jump back in fear and in confusion. Naruto's eyes were now a lightest pink with 4 black dots within. These black dots are known as Tomoe. In the last part, I kind of explained how Naruto was able to use these Tomoe against Zabuza and Haku, but the abilities were kind of unknown. Anyhow, it had seemed as if the original creators of the Dojutsu, due to the fact that they had the Byakugan, this Dojutsu has the Byakugan's abilities, therefore granting Naruto the ability to use the gentle fist. I also explained how this Dojutsu gives the user the abilities of the former users, and by that I mean the abilities of the former people who possess the Dojutsu, meaning that if, for example, an Otsutsuki, that being one of the scientists who made the artificial Dojutsu / ancient Dojutsu, if they were to, use the gentle fist while their Dojutsu was active and things of the sort, and, use the 8 trigrams, 64 palms, or whatever you want to call it, see through things, etc., etc., then Naruto would also have that ability due to the fact that things are passed on through user to user. And that's what Naruto is doing right now. Somehow he was able to imitate the abilities of Neji. He didn't actually know them, but due to the fact that I explained how the Sharingan was also in play here, and how he was able to use advanced perception and things of the sort, he's basically imitating what Neji is doing and using it against Neji with the exact same precision due to the fact that his Dojutsu is a bit like the Byakugan. Neji would just be at awe at how Naruto was able to do this, as nobody was able to imitate the Hyuga's arts. Everybody in the stage would also be in awe, as, well, what Neji said is true. Nobody is able to do that. But is Naruto an exception? I suppose. Naruto would continue to pressure Neji with his own techniques, as Neji would start to change up his technique and basically do things that Naruto couldn't even imitate. And though this may be true, Naruto had already imitated enough and knew how to use the gentle fist good enough to actually be able to combat Neji, which Neji had realized, now having to actually change his fighting style completely. Naruto would then jump back, as he would tell Neji that this is the power of a weakling, this is the power of a nobody. So you say. Neji's eyes would widen as he would ask Naruto where all this power was coming from. Red chakra would then form around Naruto's feet, then his legs, then his calves, then his knees, then his torso, then his stomach, then his arms, and then even his head. Then his hair would be engulfed as it would stand. Naruto's eyes would become a pinkish slit-like color. I've explained what this looks like before, just like in his fight with Orochimaru. Naruto knew that his Dojutsu had awakened, at least now he knew, as 5 Tomoe would be within Naruto's Dojutsu. Naruto would stare down Neji, as Neji would fall to the ground, and it seemed that Naruto's will had been able to overpower Neji, an ability granted by the Dojutsu. the ability to overpower and defeat others with merely your own will, with merely your own ambition. If your ambition and your will are strong enough, you can overpower any foe, at least most. Neji would fall to the ground as his eyes would roll into the back of his head. And with that, Naruto would defeat Neji Hyuga, esteemed prodigy of the Hyuga clan, master of the arts of the Hyuga. And this is where I'm gonna leave the story. And also, if you heard any background noise, my apologies. I have to kind of cut this recording short because basically, to sum it up, this is future Rami right now, not the Rami that recorded all that stuff, or basically recorded the what if. This is future Rami explaining what happened, and basically all that happened was on the day of recording, August 29th. It was my sister's birthday, so there was a bit of background noise. It was her 28th birthday, or 27th. I think it was 27th. But, anyway, so there's a bit of background noise, and I wanted to make this video longer, but I kind of couldn't because I had to go out, to celebrate it, and, you know. But with that being said, make sure to like, share the video with a friend who likes videos, or just any content in general. Subscribe if you're new here, especially if you haven't checked out my second channel down below. Please do so. And with that being said, Rami X out. Rami X back in another video. If you guys all enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you haven't seen or heard of my second channel, Rami XZ, go check it out in the description down below. I think we just hit a milestone over there of about 700. And, yeah. But with that being said, make sure to like, share the video with a friend, like, so this is just anime content in general. And with that being said, we can now get into the recap. In the last part, we basically left off with Naruto defeating Neji and the start of Sasuke versus Gaara, since that's the only fight that's really going to change here. As the other fights in the Chunin exams, I see no reason why they would change. Like, Hinata versus Neji and, you know, the other fights, right? Like, Choji's fight, Sakura's fights, they all don't change, so Sasuke's is where we're gonna be going. Quick time skip of about a few fights, and now we're in Sasuke versus Gaara, and we can now begin the story. Sasuke would stare down Gaara as he felt an ominous presence from Gaara. It was almost monstrous. We know this presence as the Jinchuriki that resides within Gaara. Shukaku, the one-tailed beast, a sand creature of sorts. Sasuke would then grit his teeth as he would stare relentlessly at Gaara. Gaara would stare back with a fearsome look on his face as he would start to smile, telling Sasuke that he can't wait to kill him. Sasuke would be surprised at what Gaara had said because in the Chunin exams, you're not really supposed to die, though there's always a threat of such a thing happening. So Sasuke wasn't too surprised, but he was surprised that Gaara's goal was to actually kill him, as opposed to the other people fighting in the exams. Their goals were just to win, at least as far as Sasuke knew. Sasuke would then tell Gaara that he won't let him kill him, if that makes sense. He won't let Gaara kill him because he has a goal. Gaara would ask what that goal is, as Sasuke would smile. I need to kill a certain someone. Sasuke would then rush towards Gaara with a kunai in hand, as a sand clone would appear in front of Gaara, clashing with Sasuke. Sasuke would then slice through this sand clone as the sand would reform to make the clone's body yet again. Sasuke would then realize that his strategy was going nowhere, as he would jump high up into the air and fire off an Uchiha-style fireball jutsu, something that didn't drain too much chakra, but drained a little bit of chakra. He was making sure that he had enough chakra so that he, well, didn't waste too much for a certain jutsu that we know as the Chidori. Sasuke would then fire off this jutsu as it would hit Gaara, doing not too much damage. Gaara's sand would immediately block the damage, though remnants of the attack managed to burn a few of Gaara's, clothes. It was able to burn pieces of his clothing and stuff like that. Gaara would then decide that he wants to end Sasuke a bit quicker, as we do see Gaara, being a little bit sick, if you will, psycho, whatever you want to call him. Many terms for it, really. But yeah, we have seen Gaara get a bit angry from things going slowly, things like that. So right now he's pretty angry and he wants to kill Sasuke right now. So he would then yell out sand style or sand release, whatever you want to call it, sand bullets, as many miniature bullets or mini bullets of sand would fly towards Sasuke, who would easily deflect these with his kunai. Gaara and Sasuke were not able to advance further to one another, whereas Gaara was on the offensive and was able to attack Sasuke. Sasuke was on the defensive and was able to block Gaara, and vice versa. Sasuke would attack Gaara, as shown with the fire style Uchiha Fireball Jutsu, and Gaara would defend, as shown with his sand. But with that being said, Sasuke would realize that he has no other choice, as he would do 4 backflips onto the arena wall. Just like in canon, he would activate the hand signs needed for the Chidori, an A-class jutsu. Sasuke would then release said jutsu, as Guy would have the conversation that he did in canon, talking about the Chidori and why it has its name, the, 1,000 birds and all that stuff. Whereas Sasuke would be staring down Gaara with a new determination that his new technique would defeat Gaara and end their fight. Gaara would then create a dome around himself, as we did see this in canon, where he started the transition into the Shukaku, which, personally, I don't know why he was doing that, because he could, just destroy everything in that form. Well, of course, there are people who could stop him, but you get the point. It was just kind of a foolish move on Gaara's point, or Gaara's, end, but it is what it is. Back to the story. Sasuke would then rush towards Gaara, as he would then fly towards the person in front of him, that being Gaara. Sasuke would then slam his Chidori into the dome, but as in canon, he was just barely able to dodge the needles that protruded out of the dome, that came out of the dome, just like in canon. So he's now bleeding in his arm, or from his arm. So yeah, that happened. But Gaara was now severely injured, and Gaara was actually now bleeding, causing Gaara to scream out in pain, as we did see that Gaara had a lot of trauma to blood, similar to Tsunade, but not the same. Tsunade's fear of blood was a bit different, and Gaara's fear of blood came from, people not actually being able to hurt him, and just, his trauma, emotional trauma, so, a bit different there, but you get the comparison between him and Tsunade and their fear of blood, at least at this point, as Gaara would be infuriated, and the dome would collapse. Sasuke would now pant heavily, as he had realized that he had wasted a little too much chakra, but he would be okay enough to use at least 1 more Chidori, or 1.5. The Proctor would then call the exams, just like in canon, as the Feather Illusion Jutsu would be activated by Kabuto. This is the Genjutsu that knocked out most of the people in the Chunin exams who weren't ninja. Naruto would then be awoken by Sakura, as Sasuke would realize what was happening around him and would immediately rush to his sensei to ask for instruction, since, well, his sensei, instructs him to do things. Kakashi would then basically form the same team that he had in canon with Shikamaru and, all the people just like in canon, like Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, etc., as they would rush out to go find the Sand Trio / Sand Siblings and defeat them, and they would appear. Naruto and Sasuke would now be on the scene against Gaara, though, of course, Sasuke is going to get there first, since we do still have the quote-unquote iconic scene where Naruto kicks Gaara before Gaara can injure Sasuke or Sakura, as Sakura is currently pinned down to a tree by Gaara's sand, as Naruto would appear, standing valiantly over his opponent, Gaara of the Sand. Naruto would then rush towards Gaara, as he would slam Gaara into a nearby tree, but the aftermath of that attack would basically cause Gaara to fly off of the tree. For example, you throw something at a wall, it might just come back if it's bouncy enough, or, just depending on its solid. So that's basically what's going to happen, but with Gaara's body. He's going to slam into the tree, and then a bit of his body's like going to come forward. And Naruto would actually utilize that space in between of Gaara and the tree, as he would kick Gaara forward, causing Gaara to now fly towards another tree, my bad. I don't know why I said true, but with that being said, Naruto would then put both of his hands together in a palm-like position as he would slam Gaara now into the ground. This would cause a massive amount of dust to appear, as Gaara hitting the ground would do a lot of damage to Gaara, but a lot of damage to the surrounding area as well. Naruto would then start to sigh heavily as Gaara would get back up. We now see Naruto utilize his quote-unquote ninja handbook, where he basically takes a page out of Kakashi's book, if you will, and uses the Fingers of Death jutsu mixed with, dozens of paper bombs, causing Gaara to actually have some damage, as Gaara had stated that where Naruto had hit was actually a weak point in his sand, though I don't think Naruto actually knew this, but it is going to happen, and he still is going to be harmed, right? Naruto would then actually be caught off guard by Gaara's sand basically, grabbing him, if you will, as this had happened in canon, and I see no reason why it's not going to happen here, where he's now not able to move, and he has one of two options. Either, his Dojutsu might save him, or he has to use the summoning jutsu, and I think he would use the summoning jutsu. I see no reason why he wouldn't, as he doesn't really have a choice in the matter. A massive amount of smoke would appear as 𝘾𝙍𝙊𝙃𝙃, one of the great Toad sages, would appear. 𝘾𝙍𝙊𝙃 would realize the situation as Gaara would activate Shukaku. We would now see a fight ensue between 𝘾𝙍𝙊𝙃 and Shukaku, as 𝘾𝙍𝙊𝙃 would explain how to defeat the Shukaku, or how to defeat Gaara, to be more specific. Naruto would understand, as he would immediately rush to defeat Gaara under 𝘾𝙍𝙊𝙃's order. 𝘾𝙍𝙊𝙃 would be amazed at how powerful Naruto was, and was a bit accepting of him becoming his quote-unquote master / pupil, because it wasn't really clear on if Naruto was 𝘾𝙍𝙃's master, or if Naruto was 𝘾𝙍𝙃's pupil. It was kind of like a mix, to be honest, at least until Shippuden, so that's what it kind of is now, and 𝘾𝙍𝙃 is fully accepting of it, seeing how powerful Naruto is. Naruto would then be told by 𝘾𝙍𝙃 that he needs to wake up Gaara, as the full Shukaku would appear, as Shukaku would basically yell out that he's finally free, and that he's finally free from that Runt's body, that Runt being Gaara. But he won't let Naruto and 𝘾𝙍𝙃 ruin the fun for him, as he would like to rampage a little. 𝘾𝙍𝙃 and Naruto would both disagree with this statement, as they knew that they would have to defeat Shukaku, and they can't just let him roam around the Leaf Village destroying trees, objects, buildings, etc., etc. Naruto would then watch as light would again appear in his hand. It would then take the form of a sword, as Naruto was surprised that he was able to do this yet again. We know the sword is Excalibur, the sword from Arthurian legend, or the sword that acted in a way similar to Excalibur. Anyhow, Naruto would then jump over to Gaara, and instead of punching him, he would actually move the hilt of the blade upwards, and by that I basically mean that he would be holding the blade instead of actually the hilt, and he would slam the hilt into Gaara's head, causing Gaara to actually wake up, as Naruto would then activate his Kyuubi chakra, which he had actually done in canon, so he can do it here, as he would then punch Gaara, waking him up even further. Gaara would then, be defeated. We would get the scene where Naruto basically tells Gaara that, what he's doing is wrong, and we get Naruto talking about jutsuing Gaara, as Gaara would thank Naruto for everything, as he would also apologize to his sister and brother, as Temari and Kankuro had showed up to pick up Gaara, as he would apologize for all of the stuff that he had done to them, and how harshly he had treated them. As Temari and Kankuro would tell Gaara that it's okay, as they were surprised at how much he had changed just from one single battle, and they were also surprised that Naruto was even able to defeat Gaara, as what they had saw in the fight was more than enough to call Naruto a worthy adversary. Much more. As in the canon, we did see them witnessing Naruto basically, having this, amazing fight with Gaara where, rain was falling down on them from, single attacks from Gamma Bunta, and, wind was, gusting in their faces, you know what I mean? So they were basically just amazed at how, elemental this battle was and just how insane it was. So they noted Naruto as a worthy adversary, and much more than that. Naruto and Sasuke, as well as Sakura and everybody else, would basically return to the Chunin exams, as they would basically try to help, the village out, defeating ninja and things of the sort. But they were just as useless as every other ninja in the Chunin exams, at least to be able to stop Orochimaru from killing Hiruzen. They would actually see Orochimaru do this, unable to do anything about it, as their hatred for Orochimaru would grow, and their anger towards the Sannin. But with that, Orochimaru's arms would be, quote-unquote, toast, if you will, and he wouldn't be able to, destroy the Leaf Village. It's Orochimaru's plan to destroy the hidden Leaf Village is stopped, but the damage is extensive, and work proceeds quickly to make repairs, actually, because, the village is kind of destroyed at the moment. But we still do see Itachi and Kisame invade into the Leaf Village, as Kakashi arrives in the nick of time to help Asumon Kurenai, and Itachi enters the battle as well, as a battle would ensue between both Sharingan users, that being Kakashi and Itachi, as we would see, Itachi win. I see no reason why he wouldn't. Actually, Itachi does have water style, so, they were having a bit of, a water dragon jutsu clash, but, yeah, Itachi's still winning, basically no matters what. But Jiraiya and Naruto at this point would be on their journey to find Tsunade, as Jiraiya's purpose is to protect Naruto from the clutches of the Akatsuki and to train him, at least at the moment. Naruto would then start to work on the Rasengan and things of the sort, as Sasuke, like we saw in the anime, would be basically trying to get Naruto and find Naruto, as he knew if he found Naruto, then he'd find Itachi, as Sasuke was pretty intent on confronting Itachi. Sasuke would then rush to the town where Naruto was staying at, as on the way he would get many tragic memories like the Uchiha massacre, Sasuke killing his parents, and everything along with that, as Jiraiya would then appear in the nick of time to save Naruto, because at this current moment, Naruto is fighting Itachi and Kisame, and even though Naruto is very powerful, has an ancient Dojutsu, everything like that, he's not powerful enough to take down 2 Kage-level ninja, especially these high Kage-level ninja, if you will, as Samehada is a blade that literally takes chakra, and Itachi has an eye that has flames that burn hotter than the sun. Anyhow, Jiraiya saves Naruto from Kisame, as it turns out that Itachi and the Akatsuki organization at this point are after Naruto to obtain the power of the Nine-Tailed Fox, and we basically learn this from Itachi. At least we already know this is a, community fanbase, whatever you want to call it, but Naruto and Jiraiya learn this, as Naruto would train even harder to, I guess you could say, protect himself against the threat of the Akatsuki, as the Akatsuki are pretty threatening, especially to Naruto, as he would basically have to train with the water balloon to master the Rasengan, and I see him doing so. With the help of his Dojutsu that acted in a similar way to the Sharingan and Byakugan combined, he was actually able to master the Rasengan in 2 days, which is only a day off from how much he actually mastered it in him, but you get the point. As Naruto would actually have his fight with Tsunade, and I see him doing a lot better here, as I see actually Tsunade doing a lot worse in this battle, because she was able to defeat Naruto with 1 finger, but I actually see her having to use 4 fingers here, or at least 3 fingers, as Tsunade still is a master with chakra and things of the sort. So I do see Naruto still losing here, and he also doesn't want to hurt a quote-unquote lady, if you will, since it is out of character for Naruto to do so. so he is at a bit of a disadvantage. But Tsunade, being the person that she is, would still drug Jiraiya, because we did see her do this, as Jiraiya, Naruto, and Shizune would arrive at the scene of Orochimaru and Kabuto versus Tsunade. Jiraiya would basically save Tsunade, as Naruto would form his ninja way to never go back on his word. Naruto would actually do a lot better in this fight, as he would basically have to go up against Kabuto just like he had in canon. This time he would use the Rasengan, but would get it down the first time, no, ifs and buts. Kabuto wouldn't actually do any damage, and this Rasengan would be so powerful that Kabuto wouldn't even be able to heal from it. As we saw Kabuto kind of heal from it, and I think that was a bit quote-unquote cheap, or cheese, whatever you want to call it, as I see no reason why Kabuto was just able to easily heal from the Rasengan, even though, yes, he is a, prodigy medical ninja. In my opinion, he's not going to be able to heal from the power of this mighty Rasengan, as we would then see Orochimaru be taken down, just like he had in canon, with Naruto being praised by Tsunade for having so much power that could even exceed hers, as she realized that Naruto was holding back during their fight. Though, at this point, we would actually see the Sound 4 invade the village after Naruto and Sasuke's fight, where they basically, went Rasengan Chidori, and Kakashi pushed them both away, causing them to fall into the water towers, which would cause Sasuke to realize that Naruto's Rasengan was stronger. But anyhow, the Sound 4 would basically, kidnap Sasuke, kinda, as the formation of the Sasuke Retrieval Squad would be formed, and the Leaf would rush to save Uchiha Sasuke, precious ninja to Konoha, and one of the last Uchiha alive. And with that being said, this has been 𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙃 back in a video, because I'll enjoy today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it a lot, or just as much as I did. But with that being said, make sure to like, share the video with a friend, like, share this, in the content in general. Subscribe for New Year, as I want to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of September. But with that being said, 𝙎𝙈𝙃 back in a video, because I'll enjoy today's video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as I want to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of September. But I have a feeling like we might get it by the middle of September, or maybe even sooner. Maybe a few days, maybe not. I guess we'll see. But with that being said, check out my second channel down below, as I post discussion videos as well as what ifs on that channel. And yeah, we can now get into the recap. In the last part, we left off with Naruto, basically doing all the stuff with Tsunade. Tsunade gives Naruto the necklace. Not only that, but we also get Naruto defeating Kabuto, and we also get Tsunade congratulating Naruto on how strong he is, realizing that Naruto might actually be stronger than her, though she kind of doubts it. But with that being said, the Sasuke retrieval arc has now started, as the Sasuke retrieval team has been formed. So Naruto, Neji, Choji, you get the point, would set out to basically find Sasuke. And I do not see this timeline differing or, changing, at least in the perspective of Neji still almost dying, Choji still almost dying, Shikamaru, barely getting hurt, but he still has, a broken, finger. Basically, I see everybody still getting injured, and hurt, and things of the sort. But Naruto versus Sasuke. Naruto would catch up with the Kimahamaru, and eventually the events of the canon would play out, where Naruto creates a bunch of shadow clones, Kimahamaru deals with them with ease, and then, after that, eventually, Gaara and Lee would both show up, as they could basically take Naruto's place, and Naruto would be able to fight Sasuke. So he would, chasing up to Sasuke, who was now only a little bit in front of him. Sasuke would look behind him as he would grit his teeth, staring in front of him as he basically just turned his head. Sasuke's whole body was now marked with the curse mark, as the black marks of the curse mark were even visible to Naruto, who would ask if it was the same thing that all the other quote-unquote Sound 4 members, as they're kind of like the Sound 5, but yeah, Sound 4 members had. And basically what it means is, is that the curse mark? As Sasuke would say that it's none of his business. Naruto would continue the chase after Sasuke, as Sasuke would now appear at the final valley. We would now have the fated battle between Naruto Uzumaki, and Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto would now stand on the statue of Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village, and Sasuke, well, he stood upon the tower of Madara Uchiha, famed member of the Uchiha clan, and somebody just as worthy for Hokage as Hashirama, though it had seemed that it was almost like yin and yang, or good and evil, as Naruto was standing on the good, and Sasuke was standing on the evil, as Madara would eventually depart from the Leaf Village, with his own corrupted and misguided ideologies. But I suppose it's more of a gray area. You cannot say that Madara is just evil, but that's out of the story. A fight would ensue. Naruto would ask Sasuke to come back with him, as Sasuke would shake his head. If you want me to come back with you, then you'll have to beat me. Naruto would grit his teeth as he would prepare to fight Sasuke. Sasuke and Naruto would both catch each other's blows, as they were at basically a tie at this moment. Not only that, but Naruto is still a bit incapacitated or a bit injured from his previous fight, so this kind of puts all of, like, you know, the leagues above Sasuke was, it kind of just puts that to rest. Or, sorry, my bad, my apologies. It kind of puts all of, like, the leagues above that Naruto was, and it kind of just puts that to rest, because it means nothing if Naruto's still injured. And he is, especially since he had to push himself in the 𝘾𝙍𝙊𝙊𝙏 fight and just a lot of stuff. So he's basically at the same level as Sasuke currently, and their fight would continue. Naruto would eventually be enraged as the Nine-Tails chakra would seep through without Naruto calling on it. Naruto would grit his teeth as he knew that he wasn't fully in control, but he needed the power of the Nine-Tails if he wished to succeed, as for some odd reason, his Dojutsu wasn't wanting to comply with him. He couldn't control it. Naruto would then continue to attack Sasuke as he would pull out his secret weapon, that secret weapon just being a sword, as Sasuke would then pull out a kunai. Sasuke would then be slammed into a nearby mountain by Naruto's fist, as Naruto then held out his sword, ready to attack Sasuke when he got the chance. Smoke would appear around Sasuke from the attack and debris that Naruto had basically created by slamming Sasuke into the mountain, as Sasuke had now entered the next stage of the curse mark. His body was now a almost tannish color. His hair was blue, but not the same blue as it should be. Heck, it wasn't even blue originally, unless you see some episodes of the anime, which depict it as blue, but we do know that Sasuke's hair is actually a black color. That's just an anime misconception, though I guess it just depends on your viewpoint / standpoint. Sasuke's lips were now a glossy blue as well, and his eyes a yellow with black within. Sasuke would open his eyes, close them, and then open them yet again, as he stared at Naruto, ready to unleash his full power, and knowing, at least in his mind, that he was stronger than Naruto now, and that he had finally surpassed him. Sasuke would then tell Naruto that he is ready to sever all bonds with him, as Naruto would shake his head. No, this is only the beginning of a new bond. A new bond? Stop talking such nonsense, Naruto. No, I'm serious. After this, our bond will only strengthen. So you still think you can win, even though I've dwarfed you in power? Dwarfed me in power? What a joke. Naruto would now grab onto his sword with both of his hands as he grabbed onto it tightly. A pink-like Dojutsu would appear within his eyes. We know this as the ancient Dojutsu that Naruto had inherited. Naruto would then smile. Sasuke, you may think that you're powerful right now. Heck, you may think that you've beat me. No, you may think that you've totally annihilated me. You may think that you crushed me. But no, my power is nowhere near at its max. An aura would be seen by Sasuke. It had seemed that Sasuke's Sharingan had been activated. We also saw Sasuke get access to the 3 Tomoe within this fight, and I see no reason why he doesn't have it here, as it has been forced out. Sasuke saw this aura and the colors of chakra, as we do know that the Sharingan can see different colors of chakra, as he was surprised at the form that it took on. It took on an interesting form. The form of a beast. The chakra would form into something that was similar to the Nine-Tailed Fox, as it was behind Naruto. Sasuke would feel a gust of wind hit his hair as his hair would stand, and his ears would feel cold. His breath was also cold, almost as if the temperature was below 0. Sasuke would grit his teeth as he had put the hand signs needed for the Chidori together. Sasuke would then tell Naruto that this is it, as Naruto would tell Sasuke quite the contrary. Naruto would then put his hand out as he would create the Rasengan. This Rasengan was different in color, because we know this to be the vermilion Rasengan, an almost purplish Rasengan, at least where the chakra forms. Around it it's surrounded by a vermilion-like chakra that we know as the Nine-Tails chakra, as Sasuke and Naruto would both rush towards one another. Naruto would then pull back all of his strength, as Sasuke would do the same, slamming into one another. Naruto would then create light in his left hand, which was open, as we do know that Naruto does have the ability to do this, as a sword would form. Naruto would then slash Sasuke's headband with his sword, as it gave Sasuke enough of a chance to basically push and overpower Naruto, who had been distracted by slashing Sasuke's headband. This would cause Naruto to be sent flying into, well, then below, like, ditch area, like the ravine / valley, whatever you want to call it, as he would basically hit the water. Sasuke would now also fall to the ground exhausted, as he would make sure that Naruto didn't, well, die, as he still wanted Naruto to be his rival. It didn't really want Naruto to die, at least not yet, as we do see Sasuke still having compassion for Naruto at this point, or like friendship in a way. A few years later, like when we see Sasuke dominate Team 7, well, Yamato's their teacher, the Sasuke there has, like, no remorse for his team, like, he doesn't care, but yeah, here he does, this is my point. Anyhow, Naruto would then be lifted to the surface of the water, as he would cough up some water, looking to his right and seeing Sasuke. Naruto's eyes would then start to fade, as he would start to go unconscious, but he would grab onto the nearby dirt / rocky surface, as he would clench it beneath his fingers, as some of the dirt would get into his fingernails, and he would basically form a fist. Naruto would then hold on to all the strength that he had left, as he would speak. Sasuke, I know I lost here, but trust me. Fight me again, please. I won't lose. I promise. Just give me a day to heal. I haven't had a break yet. I haven't even been able to sleep. Naruto's fist would then start to unclench, if you will, as he felt himself starting to fall asleep and basically pass out. Naruto would then activate all of his chakra, as he would make sure that he stayed alive / awake / conscious. He would then continue. Sasuke, please. Sasuke would shake his head. Naruto, I didn't expect you to still be awake. Heck, I didn't even expect you to still be alive. Of course, this was a bluff. He did expect Naruto to still be alive, but not awake. Either way, I've cut off all ties to you. That clash we just had was evidence. Of course, this is also a bluff, as he wouldn't have saved Naruto. Naruto would look up into the sky, as he would squint his eyes at the bright sun above him. I see. Well, maybe then we can rekindle some sort of friendship. Rekindle some sort of friendship? Are you that pathetic to ask me such a thing? No, Sasuke, think about it. Take me with you. Take you with me? You don't even know where I'm going. I kind of know. Orochimaru. Is that where you're going? I faced off against him. What? Well, Kind of. I faced off against his subordinate, Kabuto. Naruto would then pass out. Sasuke would be in awe at what Naruto had said, as he was surprised that Naruto was even able to take on any subordinate of, well, Orochimaru, as before he had the curse mark and was actually able to, like, synchronize with it. He was no match for any of Orochimaru's subordinates, but not like Dosu and Zaku and Kin, more like, you know, Jirobo, Kidomaru, Tayuya. You get the point. Ukon, Sakon, yeah. Anyhow, Sasuke would then see himself put in a situation where he basically had no choice and decided to take Naruto with him. Naruto would then be put on the back of Sasuke by Sasuke, who basically just lifted up Naruto, as they would start their journey towards Orochimaru's den / lair / hideout, and they would arrive. Orochimaru would ask who the boy on his back was, as Naruto would open his eyes just a little bit and then would close them again. Sasuke would pitch the words to speak, or would basically form the words to speak, but he was too tired to even walk any further, as he would pass out, Naruto on his back, and his, well, face now in the dirt. Orochimaru would pick up Sasuke and Naruto, as he realized that it was Naruto, looking at his face and basically everything alike, as he was surprised that Sasuke would take Naruto with him, especially if Naruto had told him Orochimaru and his, like, encounter, basically the encounter that they had. But nevertheless, Orochimaru would put them both on basically hospital beds, as they would both be in the same room, and Orochimaru would let them recover. 2 days later, they would wake up, as Orochimaru would ask how their sleep was. Naruto would immediately look around, as he basically looked at his surroundings. "Where am I?" Naruto would ask. Naruto would then realize that he was within Orochimaru's hideout, the place that he coincidentally wanted to be. How interesting, Naruto thought to himself. Did he get here by a whim? What happened? Naruto would then look to his left, and then his right, and then in front of him and behind him. In front of him was Orochimaru, a man that we know as one of the snake Sannin. One of the Sannin, to be more exact. And on his left was Sasuke. And on his right was medical stuff that Naruto didn't care for. And behind him was just a piece of the bed that he was on. Naruto would then ask why Sasuke had carried him to his destination, as Sasuke would stay silent, looking in front of him and at Orochimaru. Orochimaru would smirk. "Why did you come here, Naruto?" Orochimaru would ask. Naruto would stare at Orochimaru now, just as Sasuke had, as he would speak. "Why did I come here? I came here for the same reason that Sasuke did." "Really? You wish to kill Itachi, and so you need power?" "No, I don't care at all to kill Itachi. That isn't my goal, nor do I care about killing him." "Okay, so why are you here?" "Because that's Sasuke's reasoning. If I recall, he needs power to do what he must do." "I'm here because I need power." "Power for what?" "To become Hokage." "To become Hokage? Well, then you're not in the right place." Naruto would immediately get in front of Orochimaru. "I am in the right place," Naruto would say. "I know I'm in the right place." "No, I feel it. I am in the right place." Orochimaru would look at Naruto as if he were some sort of archaic beast, a monster, maybe even an abomination, if you were to go all out, per se. Orochimaru would then look at Naruto fiercely, as he would tell Naruto that he understands, and would ask Naruto if he would give his body for the cause. Naruto would tilt his head at this as he didn't know how to respond to such a question. Of course, we know that Orochimaru means that would Naruto be willing to, let Orochimaru have his body. Naruto would not respond to this as he would stay dead silent. Orochimaru would then laugh. Well, I don't expect you to know the answer to that question yet. Anyhow, I suppose you could train with Sasuke. A training partner wouldn't be bad. Sasuke would then look up at Naruto as he would speak. If you just slow me down. Sasuke would then feel a sudden drowsiness basically come over him as he would continue. If you just so much as slow me down in training, I will kill you. Naruto would laugh. You're lucky I didn't make that promise with you, because you might have already been dead. Well, I'll keep your word, Naruto would say. And I'll make sure that I don't slow you down, so that you don't have to kill me. Though, I'm not too sure if you could. I did get 2 days rest, and my body's fully healed now. I'm not at a disadvantage like before. Sasuke would stare at Naruto as his Sharingan would enter its Tsutomu stage. At this point, Sasuke already does have the 1, 2, and 3 Tomoe mastered, but at this point, he's just activating his 2 Tomoe, and it came out just in aggression, kind of, as his Uchiha blood started to boil. Naruto would tell Sasuke to calm down, as he would tell Sasuke that he's going to go out and train. Sasuke would smirk as he would say, wait, for me, as Sasuke would rush towards Naruto as they would both run outside and start to train. They would do a massive amount of training as they would basically do this every single day. Train, as Naruto would better himself with his Dojutsu, his sword fighting skills, the jutsu that he knows in general. He would basically master the Dojutsu entirely, and that's where I'm going to end the series. Not only that, but Sasuke at this point is going to have a full mastery over his Sharingan, much more jutsu as well, much more uses over his sword, much better at lightning style, a lot of stuff actually, and having a training partner has really helped him to the point where he is currently at the level of where he was when he fought Deidara, fresh off of the time skip of like 4 years, so yeah. But with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Make sure to like, share the video to a friend, likes for this. In the next part, I'm going to be talking about Naruto's Dojutsu abilities and everything that the Dojutsu gives him. And, yeah, quick rundown on Sasuke's abilities as well. But, yeah, with that being said, check out my second channel down below where I also post latest discussion videos. And, �ՌamiXZ, or �ՌamiX is my second channel. �ՌamiX. �ՌamiX background in video because I'll enjoy today's video. This is part 7, if I'm not mistaken, to what is Naruto in an ancient Dojutsu, because I'll enjoyed. This video might have been a double upload, but if it wasn't, well then, well, it wasn't. But with that being said, make sure to like, share the video to a friend, likes for this, or just anime content in general. Subscribe if you're new here, especially if you're new here. And check out my second channel down below, 𝘾𝙎𝙈, where I post what-ifs and discussion videos. Just recently, I talked about the Izanami and Izanagi, so if you're interested in that, go down below, check it out. But with that being said, let's get into the recap. In the last part, a lot of things happened, but we kind of did a little bit of a cliffhanger, but not too much of a cliffhanger. Basically, Naruto decided to, join Orochimaru with Sasuke and train and get stronger. Naruto managed to strengthen his skill with a blade. Not only that, but Sasuke managed to strengthen his skill with a blade as well, strengthen his lightning style, and due to the fact that he's been training with Naruto and actually as his training partner, he's been able to get as strong as his Deidara fight counterpart. Not only that, but Naruto has mastered all of his Dojutsu's abilities, and 4 of the tails of the 9 tails, so he's kind of been working very hard. He's also created a jutsu which combines both the Rasengan and Chidori, which I will name, and we shall now go over all of the abilities that Naruto has. But before we fully get into the abilities of Naruto and also Sasuke, which we will get into later, I need to first explain this and what happened on a fateful night, if you will, while Naruto and Sasuke were sleeping. And, Yeah, I just don't want to make it so that you guys are surprised about the jutsu that Naruto has and the jutsu that Sasuke has, or just the abilities that they have. Anyhow, on a day where Naruto and Sasuke would be sleeping, Orochimaru would take them both into a room where they would be experimented on. From these experiments, Naruto would gain Senju DNA and the Sharingan in one of his eyes. This Sharingan would soon advance into the Mangekyo due to the pain and trauma caused by that experiment, as well as the fact that he was put into an endless loop of pain. If you don't think that this is enough to trigger the Mangekyo, well, think again. And Sasuke would gain the Mangekyo Sharingan from the trauma as well, due to the facts that the events of the Uchiha massacre ringed throughout his head as his right arm was torn off and replaced with a Sharingan arm filled to the brim with various 3 Tomoe and Senju cells. Now, I hope that was enough to make you know what, well, I guess you could say the jutsu that they will have in abilities will entail, but I'll get into it with Naruto. Naruto's abilities go as follows. Advanced Perception. A lot of these are going to be tied to his Dojutsu, but when I'll tell you when the abilities aren't tied to his Dojutsu anymore. At least the ancient Dojutsu. Advanced Perception. The ability to slightly see into the future. The Byakugan's Gentle Fist. The Byakugan's Rotation. Advanced Genjutsu on par with the Ketsuryagan and Renegon, access to fire release, wind release, water release, earth release, and lightning release, so all 5 chakra natures. The ability to manipulate light, like being able to create light kunai, light shield, stuff like that. The Sharingan, which Orochimaru gave Naruto, and a Mangekyo ability. So I was going to give Naruto 2 Mangekyo abilities, but he only has 1 Sharingan, so, well, that's not really possible. And his Mangekyo ability, his single Mangekyo ability, is the ability to stop time for 10 seconds. And not only that, but, scratch that, actually. I think I'm actually going to make him have 2 Mangekyo. Maybe that's a bit cheap, or cheese, whatever you want to call it. But I feel like I want to give a Mangekyo here. Or another Mangekyo that he can switch out, basically, so that he has the ability, in this timeline at least, where he can use his Dojutsu and the Sharingan upon will, and he can basically switch them. Even though the Sharingan isn't his native eye, but due to the fact that the Uchiha cells within him mixed with the Senju cells, it kind of created a mix, which allowed him to be able to use and switch the Dojutsu upon will. Anyhow, and he can also turn off the Dojutsu, just so you know, the Sharingan that is. Anyhow, the second Mangekyo ability he has is to activate blue flames. Now, you may be wondering why I just, wanted to add this second ability, and why I wanted to give him the second Mangekyo if it was just going to be blue flames. Well, these blue flames are similar to the Amaterasu, almost like the exact same, basically, but they're blue, and they burn a little longer. But not only that, but this is going to be something that Sasuke is going to be able to directly counter, and Naruto is going to be able to do the same. So I just wanted to even the playing fields. Now, Naruto was also able to master 4 tails plus of the 9 tails as chakra, so he's almost at 5 tails, but you get the point. And an ability known as the Rasen Chidori. So let me get into this Rasen Chidori. Basically, it takes the components of the Chidori, which is basically, as Kakashi had explained himself, the Rasengan, just you add lightning chakra to it, so it was pretty easy for Naruto to do, as he has all 5 chakra natures. Second, he then adds the Rasengan, basically, a Rasengan on top of a Rasengan, which becomes a giant Rasengan with lightning chakra around it. Then this huge, ball with lightning chakra around it, then is amplified with even more lightning chakra, which creates kind of like a circle around the ball, but the circle can't really be seen unless you have a Sharingan, which can see chakra and basically see different types of chakra colors and things of the sort. But then it basically becomes a large ball of chakra with lightning style around it, which is capable of destroying, mountains with ease, things of the sort. If Naruto used this on that planet, At this point, at this level of Naruto's strength, I'd say about 25% of the planet would be destroyed. Maybe that's an overstatement, but I don't know. Anyhow, his bond with Sasuke was also strengthened, but now we are on to Sasuke's abilities. Since Itachi didn't put Amaterasu into Sasuke's eyes, instead Sasuke would have a different Mangekyo ability, or different Mangekyo abilities. Those abilities being the ability to augment reality. And for example, Naruto could be about to punch Sasuke, or anyone for that matter, Itachi or Orochimaru, whatever, and Sasuke would basically be able to create a sword to block by augmenting reality. Though this ability is very taxing to the normal user, it is not to Sasuke. Sasuke's Senju cells have made it not drain as well, and as much, and allowed him to use Mangekyo in general without too much drain or vision issues. And even though it used to drain a lot at first, even with the Senju cells, he was able to master it to where it basically drained not that much, and he could basically spam the technique. Not only that, but this second Mangekyo ability is to absorb jutsu, like any jutsu. Doesn't matter if it's a Keke Tota, Keke Moro, Keke Genkai. Of course, it can't absorb like literal dojutsu, but you get the point. If the Dojutsu follows under one of every 5 chakra natures, or so water, wind, lightning, earth, fire, etc., he does have the ability to basically launch it, though he does not have all of those chakra natures himself. Though, also I do want to mention this, Sasuke was only able to relaunch, if you will, fire style and lightning style when he first got the ability, because those were his natural affinities, and he still didn't have a proper handle on the ability. Anyhow, I wanted to make this ability because I wanted to incorporate Sasuke's former ability to take away Amaterasu and basically add it, but in a jutsu sense, because he wouldn't get the same, abilities, because Itachi never put his hands on Sasuke. It's explained later on by Obito, but yeah. Anyhow, now onto his other abilities. Sasuke strengthened his lightning style greatly, his Kenjutsu, Genjutsu, as well as his Taijutsu, and not to mention his Ninjutsu. He also gained his snake summoning and his eagle summoning. Not only that, but he was able to master his Chidori completely with barely any drain at all. Of course, this is in part due to his Senju cells, but also a lot of training with the jutsu. He's actually even better at the Chidori, if not the same as it, basically, with Kakashi. He's better with Chakra Drain, but he's not entirely better with the actual jutsu. And he has the ability to use it 15 times per day, and he also managed to strengthen his bond with Naruto, which I explained. Naruto managed to strengthen his bond with Sasuke as well, so, win-win. Now we can finally get fully into the story with all that backstory of the way about their jutsu abilities, etc., etc. Naruto and Sasuke would realize that 4 years had now passed, as they would both be standing on the top of a valley, on the top of a mountain. They would both of them fist pump each other as they would smirk, looking out into the sun. I wonder what adventures may await us. Naruto would then look at Sasuke as he would ask, "Did you already kill Orochimaru?" Sasuke would shake his head. "No. Do you want to do it with me?" "Sure," Naruto would say. "Just in case." They would both then walk into Orochimaru's hideout, as Sasuke would use his Chidori spear to basically, incapacitate Orochimaru, who was also already bedridden, as Naruto would quickly deal with Kabuto, who was also in the room, pitting him up against the wall with his left arm, as he would tell Kabuto that he should have never tried to, help Orochimaru, because basically Naruto had only attacked Kabuto because Kabuto had tried to help Orochimaru, and rightfully so, it's this kind of master/father figure. But anyhow, Naruto would then watch Kabuto's expression go from normal to despair, as he would laugh, throwing Kabuto through the wall. It is seen that Naruto's strength had increased by almost tenfold. Orochimaru would then be in awe at Naruto's strength and Sasuke's strength. It had almost been as if they were holding back. Naruto would then activate his Mangekyo Sharingan, and Sasuke would do the same. Does it feel good to know that we had activated the Mangekyo Sharingan? What? Orochimaru would say. You had that dojutsu? But, you never showed me it. Orochimaru would cough up some blood. Damn it. I hadn't been able to stop the jutsu fully. You see, this Sasuke is so powerful, basically, that he's able to, do even more damage, even though Orochimaru has his, arms crossed, and, yeah. Anyhow, Orochimaru would then ask when they found the time to get so much strength and basically get so much stronger, as Naruto would speak. When we found the time, every day we went outside, we trained. Did you think that Sasuke would only stay at the Sharingan after what you put us through? We were having a kind sleep, until you took us from our rooms and experimented on us. Though, I shall say, Sasuke did gain some incredible strength in me as well. I'm grateful for that strength, at least a little bit, if only a little bit. Naruto would then sniffle. Sasuke would do the same. Well, I guess we could say this. We care about you so much that we would sniffle for you. Orochimaru would look at both of his, former pupils in awe as he would tell them that this is not it, that it's not over. Sasuke's curse mark would tingle just for a little bit, as he still does have the curse mark, just another thing that he has access to, on top of his already, immense power and his prodigal skill. Anyhow, as the tingling would then go away, Sasuke just saw it as an effect of killing the original person who made the curse mark, though this person is actually Jugo, at least Jugo cells, and Sasuke doesn't really know that yet. Though he does know who Jugo is, and Suigetsu and Karin. Naruto also knows such things, but they don't really care about them right now. They'll just let them govern over the hideouts. Naruto and Sasuke would then walk out of Orochimaru's hideout, as Naruto had made sure that Orochimaru was fully dead by hitting him with a light kunai. Kabuto, before they could fully leave, would throw a poison kunai at Naruto, whose body would be hit with it, but Naruto would realize that he was hit and that it was a poison needle, as the poison would quickly spread through his body faster than he had ever seen before, as his Mangekyo Sharingan was still active. Naruto would then grit his teeth as he would put out the rat hand sign, and his body would become light. What was this? Kabuto thought to himself. No, what is this? Light would then engulf the area as Naruto's body would continue walking. Let's go, Sasuke. I was able to substitute myself with my light, though it did come at the cost. I'm a bit tired now. Not too tired, though. I see. How much chakra does it take you to use such an ability? And in what circumstances can you? Any, really. Any attack, I can substitute myself with that. But depending on the velocity of the attack, well, let's just say that poison kunai took away about 30% of my chakra. If the object was a Chidori, it would take about 30%. And that's saying a lot because that kunai, well, it was some serious poison. I see. Well, that's a pretty interesting ability of yours. Yes, you are right. I can even avoid being hit with it. I plan on mastering it soon enough. Maybe when I do master it. I'll have the ability to do it with will, just alone. And I can do it by expending almost 0 chakra. I hope you can get to that level before we fight again. Yes, so do I. Now, shall we return to our village? Or take out Itachi? Which one do you think is better? I say return to our village. Why not? Naruto and Sasuke would then return to their village, that being the Leaf Village, as we know, and there everybody would be in awe at their strength. their auras were so powerful that it made everybody who was, well, tuning level and below almost puke at how much energy that they were basically letting off. And this was because they weren't holding back. Like, they weren't in a scenario where they had to hold back. Every single time that they were with Orochimaru, they had to hold back their power because they didn't want Orochimaru to think that they were very powerful, which would cause Orochimaru to probably want one of their bodies, like, immediately. And instead, they showed that they were weak so that Orochimaru didn't catch on and, want their bodies much faster than he would have. But now that they were with their, quote-unquote friends, they could release all of their chakra and powers. And it was basically just them being free. They weren't, like, going 100%, but they were just relaxed. And, like, people like Kiba, Hinata, etc., were, like, on their knees, like they could barely stand just by their presence. Naruto and Sasuke would, of course, notice this as they would tone down their chakra levels, telling Kiba, Hinata, Ino, and literally everybody else there that they need to get stronger so that they can really go full out and basically, go all out. Sakura would then butt in as she had tears filling her eyes and would say, "Well, we didn't expect you to get this much powerful." "Oh, you didn't? Were we not this strong when we left?" Haha, Sasuke would laugh, as Sakura would laugh just a little bit. Neji would then bat an eye at Naruto, as he would then ask where they had been. Naruto would laugh, with a certain Sanin, Orochimaru, Sasuke would say. Always having to steal what I'm gonna say, Sasuke. Now, let's not argue here. Of course. Naruto would then stand up from the bench that he had been sitting on with Sasuke as he would speak. "Everybody, I am very sorry that I had to leave you all, and so abruptly. We are all friends, and I apologize for not being able to continue to see you all. You see, me and Sasuke had been training our bodies for our goals." "Your goals?" "You see, I want to become Hokage. And Sasuke, well, he wants to defeat a certain someone, or kill a certain someone to be more exact." "Kill somebody?" Sakura thought to himself, or herself, my bad, and everybody else in the area, as Naruto would continue. "I sincerely apologize." Sasuke would then stand as he would clear his throat. "Me as well. I apologize for not being able to see you all. And I apologize for putting you all through so much pain. From what the Sound 4 had told you, did they say that I was never gonna come back?" Everybody had a dead silence as Sasuke would continue. "Either way, they had told me, well, when they had recovered, that's, well, to say the least, they had beaten you up pretty badly." "Wait, they recovered?" "No, only few did. You said they, but only a few did. The Sound 4 that was once there, well, is only now 2. But they were out on a mission when we left, so they're not a problem that you'll have to deal with. They're too weak to compete with us anyways." "Who are they?" "The Sound 4 member, Kidomaru. I hear that you did a lot of damage to him, Neji. Good job. And the other one that survived, the name's Jirobo. Choji, you incapacitated him. Heck, his back was almost broken. And his stomach was almost torn. You're very powerful. Maybe the strongest here. As Jirobo's defense is no weak defense, to say the least." "I see. Thanks for the compliment, Sasuke," Choji would say. Naruto and Sasuke would then tell their, teammates / friends, whatever you want to call them, that they'll be back, but they need to talk to the Hokage and tell them that they're in the village. As they would. On their way, they would see Kakashi, as both of them would lock eyes, but Naruto and Sasuke would be running, so they had no time to slow down, and Kakashi was shocked and could barely even move at how surprised he was that they were even in the village. Naruto and Sasuke would knock on the Hokage door as Tsunade would open it. Tsunade would be in awe at seeing Naruto again and how much he had grown. He was much taller as he ate a lot more different foods, went on a lot of diets, things of the sort, and how much stronger both Sasuke and Naruto looked and actually were. Naruto would laugh as he would ask how Tsunade has been. Tsunade would immediately put down her paperwork as she would get a little bit angry, telling Naruto that, well, because of Sasuke and, well, in a way, Naruto, they had, been at a very high chance of being attacked, because if any information got out about Naruto not being in the village and due to him being the Jinchuriki, war could spill out and another nation could attack them because they don't have their Jinchuriki nor the user of the Sharingan that they have left. Naruto and Sasuke would notice, they would apologize for being absent, and Tsunade would ask where they had been. Naruto would then say that they had been with Asani and Orochimaru, as Tsunade would have a different look on their faces. Tsunade would then ask them what had happened on their journeys with Orochimaru, as Naruto would activate the Mangekyo Sharingan and his Dojutsu being in his right eye and the Mangekyo in his left. Sasuke would then activate his Mangekyo in both eyes and would raise his arm to show his Uchiha arm, or his Sharingan arm to be more exact. Tsunade would then ask how they acquired such things and what had happened to them, as Naruto and Sasuke would both look to the side. Orochimaru's experiments. And with that being said, this has been What If Naruto Had an Ancient Dojutsu. I think we're on, part 8 or part 7. My bad if I, don't know. But with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed. Make sure to like, share the video to a friend, like this, or just name the content in general. Especially subscribe if you're new here. And yeah, Rami X. Check out my second channel below. Out. Rami X back over another video. Hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you're new here, especially if you're new here. And check out my second channel down below where I also post what ifs as well as discussion videos if you're interested in that kind of topic. But with that out of the way, we can now get into the recap. In the last part, we basically left off with Naruto and Sasuke in the Hokage office talking to Tsunade and explaining how they were experimented on. And this conversation of theirs would not go on for too much. It wouldn't be too long, but basically they would just catch up eventually after Naruto explained that they were experimented on with Sasuke. And that basically sums up the recap, as I kind of extended the recap just a little bit. And yeah, we can now fully begin the video. So after this, Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke would have to demonstrate their new skills against Kakashi, as Kakashi would test them to see how far they have advanced in, their 4 years, basically. While at this point, the Akatsuki has arrived at Tsunagakure to capture the host of a certain tailed beast who we know as Shukaku. I don't know who likes Shukaku, but yeah, he's a pretty good tailed beast. But with that out of the way, eventually I do see, Team 7 passing this bell test pretty easily. They're just fighting Kakashi, and frankly, I actually think at this point, just one of Naruto or one of Sasuke would be able to defeat Kakashi. One of Sakura, I'm not entirely sure there. Actually, I'm 100% sure that she wouldn't be able to do it because she's just not strong enough yet. Though, maybe give it a few months. Anyhow, now, this time that Team 7 spent together would be very short-lived, as they would have to go on a mission. This mission would be the mission to help out Tsunagakure, or the Hidden Sand Village. Just so you guys know, if you don't, Tsunagakure is the Hidden Sand Village. But with that out of the way, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would eventually get to the Sand Village, as at this point, Kankura would already be infected with Suri's poison, and Sakura being the, great medical ninja that she is. Some of you may doubt that, but, she is. That's her specialty. She would be able to create an antidote just like she had in canon. This would cause Suri and his poison's effects to just, diminish because her antidote can destroy it, if you will, and Kankuro would basically be saved. Besides that, the events of the canon are going to go the same, except for one thing. So first off, a lot of these fights with Naruto and Sasuke are going to be a lot easier because Naruto and Sasuke, first off, always travel together, and second off, they're a hell of a lot stronger, if you will. Either way, Rock Lee, Neji, and Tenten would still defeat 𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙃𝙃, and Guy would still fight 𝙎𝙎𝙃𝙃, yada, yada, yada. But the main thing that I want to change here is the fact that when Naruto, I don't know if you guys remember this scene, but when Kakashi basically uses the Mangekyo on Deidara and, snipes his, arm, right? That's not actually going to happen. Instead, we're going to see Naruto step up here in his anger. We did see Naruto actually activate the Kyuubi Cloak, but because he actually has mastery over it, I do not see him activating the Kyuubi Cloak just yet. And instead, I see him stepping up like I stated before. And so this is where the timeline is going to differ. Sasuke would, of course, like I explained before, be with Naruto because they always travel together. But Naruto would tell Sasuke to go on while he basically, stays behind and deals with Deidara. This would mean, though, that Naruto is not going to be there when Gaara wakes up and is revived by Chio, but instead it's going to be Sasuke. It's not going to have the same effect, but it is still going to be a heartwarming moment for Sasuke, who may even shed a tear. He is not heartless here. He has been able to keep most of his emotions because Naruto's always been around, comforting him and basically being the good to his evil, and you could say that Sasuke was Naruto's evil, in a way. It would be hard to explain. No sus, though. Anyway, we now switch back to Naruto because I feel like this fight is very important, and I also feel like in this fight I'm going to be able to demonstrate both how powerful, how powerful Naruto has gotten, and not only that, but really just how powerful Deidara is versus Naruto, and how powerful Naruto is able, just how powerful Naruto is, and just so I can demonstrate his true strength, and just know that Sasuke is, relative to this, so, almost, the same strength, but still, a lot weaker, but, almost, Anyhow, Naruto would stare down Deidara as Deidara would create a clay clone. This clay clone would then rush away from Deidara and Naruto and to Kakashi and Sasuke. Naruto would make sure that Deidara's clone couldn't get anywhere as he would appear in front of it, slicing it. This clone would then explode as Naruto would be shocked at such a jutsu. Explosion release, Naruto thought to himself. Or maybe it was rigged with paper bombs. Naruto would then jump back as he would realize that he didn't take too much damage, realizing that he was more durable than he had thought. At least he was able to tank that paper bomb. Though, because it was at close range, he was kind of surprised that he wasn't hurt at all. Naruto would then grab his sword very tightly. Before he was holding it more lightly, if you will, and now he would grab it tight, telling Deidara that he will not allow him to go any further. Deidara would smirk. How cocky of you, kid. Naruto would then smirk. I guess we'll see who's cocky once I defeat you. Defeat me? Well, you sure have the determination of a leader, but that won't get you anywhere dealing with me. Are you sure? Naruto would then put his hands together in an earth-like symbol / jutsu. Naruto would activate an earth jutsu to be more exact, and this earth jutsu would cover the entire area. Everywhere that basically was in sight was covered by this earth jutsu that Naruto basically poured a lot of his strength into. Naruto would then be panting heavily on the ground as he hadn't actually mastered this jutsu yet, and he had only just now been able to basically extend its range because he wasn't like that tired, so he was able to use the jutsu to its fullest, but he hadn't yet like fully mastered the jutsu until now, so you know he's kind of like not too good with it. And it took a lot of chakra. Naruto would realize such things as he would activate his Kyuubi cloak. Naruto's anger would fuel this Kyuubi cloak as it would start to run rampant. The chakra, that is, not Naruto. Naruto was in full control right now. Just the chakra of the Kyuubi is everywhere, to say the least. Anyhow, Deidara would then smirk. I've been waiting to see some of that Nine-Tails chakra. You know, our leader really wants you. He wants the beast within you, not you. You're nothing. I'm nothing, you say. Well, Naruto would then deactivate the chakra of the Nine-Tails. Well, then I guess you don't have to see the power I possess within. The power you possess within? What do you mean? I mean the Nine-Tails, dummy. I see. So you're saying, if you're not anything, like I stated, you want me to test that. You want me to test you being nothing. Something like that. Now fight me, Deidara. Enough chit-chat. Naruto would then tell Deidara that he is not going to play around with him, as he does know Deidara is a threat. Even to this Naruto, Deidara is a complete threat, as he would activate his Dojutsu in both of his eyes. Naruto would now smile, as he was ready to test out his abilities on somebody who wasn't Orochimaru or Kabuto or the Sound 4 or Sasuke. Naruto would then ask Deidara if he was going to say, "Come at me." Deidara would sweat just a little bit from this, as he was surprised that Naruto knew what he was going to say. How interesting. Maybe you're surprised, maybe you're not, but in the last part I explained how Naruto has the ability to slightly see into the future. That's what he's doing right now. Just so you know. Naruto would then jump up into the air, rushing towards Deidara, who was flying on top of a bird. Naruto would then add lightning chakra to his sword, as he would see if the explosion style/release had any weaknesses. Naruto would then stab the lightning chakra into the bird that Deidara was on, as the bird would basically not explode and would fall to the ground as Naruto sliced it, without any explosion, without anything really. And Naruto would tilt his head as he would smirk. Deidara, you say? Well, you were going to say come at me, but I did. And in fact, I'm glad I did. I was able to figure out your weakness, lightning style. Damn you, kid. Deidara would grit his teeth. Even though you may know my weakness, it doesn't mean that you're stronger than me. Heck, it doesn't even mean that you can beat me, because I am Deidara, master of arts, and one of the Akatsuki. I see. So you're still betting on that, aren't you? Naruto would say, as he would stare down Deidara. Now, fire style, fireball jutsu. Naruto would launch said jutsu towards Deidara, who would be able to somewhat easily block, creating and saying explosive clay minions as a jutsu would form. Basically, those are those, like, stupid, well, not stupid, but, like, weird to say the least, like, little, like, I wouldn't really know how to explain them, but they're basically like the clay humans kind of thing, like clay dolls kind of thing, where they kind of move around and yeah. Anyhow, I don't want to touch up on that too much, but yeah. Anyhow, Deidara would also now realize Naruto's strength, as he would decide to use a lot more strength, to say the least. He would then yell out, C2. A giant bird like dragon would appear as Naruto would start to sweat a little but would keep his calm. He is dealing with somebody whose main goal is to get the Biju, so if he isn't careful, he might just end up dead. Though this is very unlikely, this is just what Naruto thinks. Naruto would then create what is known as a light kunai. I already explained like the properties of the light kunai, like how powerful it is, things like that. I also explained the substitution like jutsu that Naruto has, but that a little way. Naruto would then throw the kunai at Deidara's dragon as it would explode. Deidara was now at a bit of a corner. Naruto's jutsus were able to casually defeat his C1 and C2. How about C3? Deidara would then yell out C3 as a small bird, but a almost big bird but small bird would appear out of his hand. This bird would then massively increase in size. Deidara would then start to sweat profusely. He had drained a lot of his chakra because he had literally just fought another Jinchuriki, so you get the point. This attack was also the same attack that he used to defeat Gaara, so he was putting in a lot of chakra into the attack, to say the least. This C3 would then drop on Naruto, as Naruto would be amazed at his destructive capabilities, being able to block with his sword encased in lightning style. Naruto would now tell Deidara that he thinks that that's the last of his abilities that he has to worry about. Naruto's Mangekyo Sharingan would then activate. It's over. Naruto would then stop time as he would rush towards Deidara, grabbing him by his neck and throwing him into the ground, as he would then yell out water style twin water dragons jutsu, as he would then slam said water dragons into Deidara while time is still stopped. Time is still stopped right now, as he would then yell out earth style twin colliding earth walls. Basically, two pieces of earth would protrude from the ground or come out of the ground, if you don't know what protrude means. And basically, they would slam into Deidara from both of his sides. So now he was gasping for air as the wind had just been knocked out of him. Naruto would then play time, as Naruto would then start to basically pant heavily, as the Mangekyo was still the Mangekyo. But as you know, his Senju DNA and some other various things that he has would help him to easily recover from this, as he would basically fall to the ground, whatever you want to call it, but he would land basically perfectly, as he would then look into Deidara's eyes. Deidara would be angered, and so angry, but why, you may be asking? Not because Naruto would just, destroy his precious art, but because Naruto had the Sharingan. And if you're not, familiar, or you just don't know, or just didn't take some time to, watch Naruto, Deidara kind of hates Itachi, especially because of, quote-unquote, those eyes. He specifically hates Itachi, but at the same time, he hates the Sharingan for what it was able to do against his art. He would later then go on to join the Akatsuki, because of a genjutsu that Itachi used on Deidara that basically destroyed his art and, put it against him. But anyhow, it's not like he was being forced into the Akatsuki, but you get my point. I'd suggest you rewatch the scene, but it doesn't really matter. So he would hate said eyes. Deidara would then crunch the soil beneath him as he would grit his teeth, as he thought to himself, weighed out his options. Naruto's pretty strong. He's been able to defeat most of his attacks, if not all of them, with ease. He's also found out his weakness, and it seems like he hasn't depleted in chakra very much. Not only that, but if he has depleted in chakra, then he's not showing it at all, and even if he has, then he would probably rely on his tailed beast's chakra, which he can easily do, debunking his last thought, as he realized that Naruto just has too much chakra to deal with. So he'll do what he could do, and that's, C4. he would try C4, and if C4 doesn't work, well, then he's going to have to use a different technique, to say the least. Maybe you know what I mean by that, but I guess we'll just have to wait, as he would basically pop up. C0 basically expands Deidara's body as if he were doing a suicide bomb, but it's basically a fake suicide bomb. This jutsu was actually a technique Deidara created, my bad, to counter the Sharingan. So Naruto was actually unable to see if this is, like, you know, fake or not, so he actually thinks that Deidara is blowing himself up. Not only that, but it is able to neglect, like, the genjutsu that it produces, and Deidara uses his own mouth instead of the ones on his hands to create a giant doll, basically, in his image. So like massive, like, he basically becomes like a massive, like, doll kind of that's like exploding, and it releases a cloud of microscopic bombs that enter the bloodstream of anyone who inhales them on Deidara's command. The micro bombs detonation causes the victim's body to disintegrate at the cellular level, literally turning them into dust. You could even say that this is an OP move, if you will, but it was stated that while fighting Oniki, Deidara utilized an alternate method of C4 by forming a small like clay statue of himself with a mouse in his hands. This technique also earned enough credit to be called a fearsome technique by such a powerful shinobi as Obito Uchiha. But anyway, with that out of the way, this attack would be launched, and, well, to say the least, it would basically start to destroy Naruto's body, just as it did Sasuke when Sasuke fought against the but as you also may know, that was a genjutsu, and so was this. Deidara was fooled. Deidara's back was now against the wall even more than it would even against Sasuke, as Naruto had just fooled him. Naruto would then tell Deidara that it's over, as he would manipulate light to create a sword. Deidara would then smirk, as he would yell out that he hates those eyes, those wretched eyes that mock his art, as he would then launch C0. If you don't know what C0 is, well, that's that. But it is the highest form of Deidara's explosive clay, his ultimate art. C0 is a suicide bomb technique used as a last resort. Deidara reveals a mouth on his chest, which is stitched up. After undoing the stitches, Deidara feeds it a large ball of clay, which he had just done, and the mouth on his chest has a direct connection to his heart, so a large amount of chakra is built up, and it then basically explodes, to sum it up at least. There's a lot of stuff that happens after, like, it manifests itself in his veins, just a lot of stuff, but to be exact, it just explodes. This attack was capable of destroying basically the whole surrounding area around Sasuke, so it is very powerful here as well. And it would do a lot of damage, but Naruto would be able to survive by using his trump card. I explained what this trump card was, at least I believe I did, in the last part when Kabuto tried to kill Naruto, and this was known as the light substitution technique that I talked about Naruto having, where he can basically turn into light itself for a few moments, though it is very chakra taxing. Naruto doing it just to block a poison kunai took up a lot of Naruto's chakra and really put him at a disadvantage if he were to fight somebody, though Sasuke was with him and everything was okay because, well, yeah. And he's never fought up against an attack this large, and he's never planned to, at least using this jutsu. So you can probably see this attack taking a lot more chakra than just that poison kunai, and it would take literally all of Naruto's chakra, even when using the Nine Tails, but he would survive, as Naruto would now be on his back, panting heavily, and Deidara would now be dead. Naruto would look up into the sky, as he would tell Deidara that he thanked him for the fight, as he would then close his eyes and reopen them. His Mangekyo was active. Naruto would then stop time, looking around to make sure that Deidara was completely dead. This wasn't the first time that Deidara tried to fake his death. Naruto would then realize that Deidara was completely gone, as his Sharingan can see chakra even clearer with the Mangekyo, as he was surprised that Deidara was actually gone, as he would pat himself on the back. Good job, Naruto. You did well. Naruto would smirk because, well, he was talking to himself. It almost made him feel like a madman, or, crazy, if you will. Naruto would then start to walk back to Team 7's location, or at least where they should be, as about 30 minutes later, he would arrive. He was pretty beaten up because he had laced all of his chakra, as he would then fall to the ground in front of his comrades. Gaara would immediately stop Naruto's fall with his sand, as Gaara was there with Team 7, and Naruto would basically be stitched up and ready to return to the Leaf Village. Here we would see Naruto return to the Leaf Village. No reason why that's going to change here. With Team 7 as well. But with that being said, I think I'm going to leave it off here, if that's fine with you guys. But with that being said, make sure to like, share the video to a friend, links for this, just anime content in general. Subscribe if you're new here. Sorcery has been defeated, and as always, Rami X back with another video. I think you all enjoyed today's video. As you can see by the title, or as the title suggests, this is What If Naruto Had an Ancient Dojutsu, part 9 to my knowledge. Part 9. And soon I expect to be finishing this, maybe by part 10, maybe by part 11. I guess we'll just see how long this part comes out to be, as we'll just go along with the story. But in the last part, we basically left off with everybody getting Naruto. By that I mean Naruto just faced off with Deidara. Naruto was very tired. He was about to pass out, in front of Team 7, he was falling to the ground. And then Gaara basically saved him from falling with his sand, as Naruto is currently not passed out. Now, I want to explain where he is. He's not, just sleeping, whatever you want to call it, but he's actually in his subconscious, where Kurama, or the Nine-Tails Beast, Nine-Tails, or whatever you want to call it, lives, right? And he is now talking to the Nine-Tails, and we shall now fully begin the story. The Nine-Tails would speak. It has been a long time since we've met face to face like this, don't you think, Naruto? Naruto would nod, as it has been a pretty long time. Basically, their conversation would end with Kurama signifying his bond with Naruto. Naruto now had access to the full KCM. This is important. Why? Well, Naruto's going to be using KCM against a certain foe. Now, you may be asking how Naruto could go from, say, 4 to 5 tails of the Nine-Tails' chakra to about something more like all 9. Well, it's pretty simple. The Nine-Tails and Naruto made a deal. And what deal, you may be asking? Well, it's pretty simple, but not simple at the same time. So the deal goes as follows. Naruto and Sasuke take out the Akatsuki. Now, this is a somewhat straightforward idea, but, yeah. And that was basically the deal. They take out the Akatsuki. Naruto is lended, the Nine-Tails chakra to be able to do it. And, yeah. Though, since they do not have perfect sync, he cannot access KCM2, at least not yet. As Naruto would follow along with this, he would keep this in the back of his head, as he wanted to first return to the village before he put out any plan to even start to attack the Akatsuki, as he had defeated one of its members, and 2 of its members had been taken down by the Leaf Village, one by him and one by Sakura, Chio, etc., right? But with that being said, Naruto, Team 7, and everybody else, if you will, would basically just return to the Leaf Village. Gaara would return to the Sand Village, thanking Naruto for everything he had done for him, and defeating the person who had caused so much harm to the Sand Village. As Deidara's attack did do some damage to the Sand Village, but not too much, of course, because Gaara blocked it. Anyhow, Naruto, as he returned, would basically get Sasuke alone and would ask him to help him defeat the Akatsuki. Sasuke would not object to this. He wanted to kill Itachi. Itachi's in the Akatsuki. It's kind of like a win-win scenario. He gets to help out his best friend, and really, there was no going wrong with it, at least in Sasuke's mind. So he accepted with ease. Not only that, but he felt he was actually strong enough to face Itachi and maybe all the other members of the Akatsuki. He had a lot of stuff. He had, his Mangekyo abilities like augmenting reality and the ability to basically bring anything out of existence, right? Not only that, but he had several other abilities, as well as the fact that, he was just so much stronger than his previous counterpart, if you will, or his normal counterpart. But with that being said, Naruto also felt he was ready. Like, Naruto had a lot of abilities. He had advanced perception, as well as Sasuke having the same. The ability to slightly see into the future, the Byakugan's gentle fist, the Byakugan's rotation, advanced Genjutsu on par with the Ketsuryagon and Rinnegan. Like, there was no going wrong, really, with his skill, right? So he was very powerful. But with that being said, they needed to plan out their Akatsuki attack / invasion, whatever you want to call it. So first they needed to figure out where the Akatsuki was. So, they had a plan. Basically, they would cause some trouble with some transformed versions of them. So some clones of theirs would transform into random people, right? And then they would wear Akatsuki robes and start causing trouble. The Akatsuki would eventually catch on, seeing that they're wearing, the standard Akatsuki robe, and would, basically confront the scandal, if you will, or the copycats, whatever you want to call them, that being Naruto and Sasuke's clones. And basically, they would express how they wanted to join the Akatsuki. The Akatsuki would let them in. They would figure out where the Akatsuki's base is, and it would work like that. And it would work. This would be pretty easy to do, and the Akatsuki would fairly quickly take notice and would actually let them into the Akatsuki, as we have seen, pretty weak people, to say the least, join the Akatsuki. They're usually like henchmen and things of the sort, but they're still in the Akatsuki, nevertheless. And they would figure out that in a few weeks to a month, all the Akatsuki members would be gathering in one spot. This was great information for Sasuke and Naruto, so that they would hone their skills for about 3 months and 4 days. Now, this is very important for them to hone all of their skills, because they were basically able to increase all of their skill entirely. This also gave Naruto himself enough time to be able to use KCM2 and actually gain access to it, which boosted his power tremendously and put him leagues above where Sasuke is right now, at least in terms of speed and physical strength. Though Sasuke and Naruto were able to be, even if Sasuke used his Mangekyo abilities to its fullest, like being able to augment reality, for instance. But with that being said, they needed 3 extra days to prepare themselves and to prepare their body. Basically, what they would do is they would, meditate, things of the sort, and they would, make sure that they were rested up enough to where they had no, sores or pain in their body, anything like that, right? Not only that, but they needed 1 whole day to gather weapons. A month had now passed, and their clones were able to relay to them that the Akatsuki, I guess you could say, formation / gathering had been formed, and they had been, communicating with one another in person as, they speak. Naruto and Sasuke would smirk as they would tell Tsunade that they are leaving the village. Tsunade would immediately try to stop them, but it was, no use, to say the least. They had already basically just disappeared. And by that I mean they kind of set themselves aflame. You see, maybe you do, maybe you don't understand what I'm talking about, but in an anime episode, in the episode where Orochimaru, Kabuto, and Sasuke showed up, and Sasuke basically just decimated Team 7. They kind of used this technique where they just, set their bodies aflame, kind of, and they just disappeared, and that's basically what Naruto and Sasuke are using here. And it would allow them to get right in front of the entrance where the Akatsuki meetup would be taking place. Naruto and Sasuke would then get ready, as they would, let in a big breath of air, and then breathe it out. They were ready to face off against the Akatsuki, and they had already figured out which Akatsuki members were weak and which Akatsuki members were strong, to say the least. They knew that people like Itachi, people like, Toby, Pain, etc., were very strong, but they also know who was weak, like 𝙎𝙈. People like, some of the other Akatsuki members, like even 𝘎𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙃. 𝘎𝙎𝙈 is not too powerful without his blade, though he's a bit of an exception because he is interesting, to say the least. But that being said, they knew which Akatsuki members ranked above each other, and they were prepared to fight them. Now, the Akatsuki does not have 10 members right now. They only have about, 8-ish. Due to the fact that Sasori and Deidara have both been taken out, as well as Juzo has been taken out previously by the third Mizukage. So that leaves about, including 𝘎𝙎𝙈, Itachi, Pain, Kakuzu, Konan, Hidan, and no Orochimaru because Orochimaru's dead. That's 6 Akatsuki members who are currently alive and in the Akatsuki group. So, they had 6 people to deal with. Naruto would immediately enter the Akatsuki hideout as he looked around, basically feeling out his senses and everything, to say the least. So, before I fully get into this fight with Naruto, Sasuke and the Akatsuki, I want to first address something. On the day of recording, it is September 11th, and if you don't know why that is important, well, it's because it is Patriot Day. Now, I'm not from the United States. Heck, I'm not even American, but I do know that this day is a thing. It's basically just to, I guess you could say, commemorate the fallen, if that makes sense, or commemorate them and just basically remember them and honor them in a way that is fit, right? Because 9/11 was a bad day, to say the least. I'm not gonna talk about it that much on here, especially because I don't want to make anybody feel that kind of way. But with that being said, if you want to do your own research on it, you can, but I'm just gonna pause for 10 seconds real quick. And with that, I feel I have given my own honor. I have no real connection to the people who, suffered on that day. Only reason why I really knew about it was because my mom worked in the building beside, the building that was hit, if you will. But besides that, we can now fully get back into the fight, if you will. Naruto would then look in front of him. There stood the Akatsuki. Pain, Nagato, or Pain, I guess you could say, Nagato, whatever you want to call him, same thing, at least in my books. Konan, 𝙎𝙈, even the likes of Kakuzu, 𝘎𝙎𝙈𝙃, Zetsu, they all stood in front of Naruto. Naruto would take in a breath of, I guess you could say, relief that his shadow clone and Sasuke's shadow clone surveyed them the right information. But this breath of air was also one of confidence. He was ready to fight against a force that may be greater than him himself. Naruto would then ready himself for battle against the Akatsuki, as he would get into a fighting stance, clapping both of his hands together. A QB-like orange glow would appear around him. This was Naruto activating KCM-1. Naruto would then activate his Dojutsu in his right eye and his Sharingan in his left. He was ready to fight. Although his Sharingan is in its 3 Tomoe right now, and his Dojutsu is just normal right now. But with that being said, Naruto would rush in. Now you may be asking, where is Sasuke, right? Well, pretty simple. He's hiding. He's waiting for Naruto to basically do some damage. They think that Naruto's the only one there. And basically, they might be able to get and catch a few members off guard by seeing Sasuke, of all people. As maybe you do know this, maybe you don't. But they wanted to get Sasuke out of Orochimaru's hands for a very long time. And now that Sasuke's there, some of the members might be, a bit surprised. And they could catch them off guard. And it would kind of work. So basically, Naruto would take out a few Akatsuki members pretty quickly. Now, his strength is immense right now, and the Akatsuki members who he's specifically going to take down go as follows, and these are just Akatsuki members who's going to take down with ease. So, Kakuzu, I see him taking down Kakuzu with pretty much ease and basically putting him into a combo, move, and by that I basically mean he's, I guess you could call it bum rushing, if you will, Kakuzu, and making sure that he can't even recover. This would also, you know, be a much quicker fight than any of the other ones because Naruto's very set focused on defeating Kakuzu. As you may know, Naruto and Sasuke's clones went into the Akatsuki kind of, and here I want to explain what they were able to figure out, or a little bit more that they were able to figure out. They were able to figure out that Kakuzu was immortal as well as the fact that Hidan was immortal. This is important because they have different immortalities. Hidan's immortality is kind of like, immortality, and Kakuzu's is weird. He can kill people and then use their hearts to basically, as like lives. It's kind of hard to explain, but I hope you guys understand that. But with that being said, I do see Naruto knowing this since his clone knew it, right? And he's basically trying to get rid of Kakuzu, who he knows he can actually kill, if you will, and he's basically just using like his sword and takes his sword and like stabbing into Kakuzu before he can even pull out the hearts for like their chakra nature jutsus and all that sort of stuff. And basically his next target would be Zetsu. Zetsu is powerful, don't get me wrong. He is very strong. How strong? Sure, he's Kage level. I'm not going to deny that too much. But besides that, my apologies for the sniffle. He's not that strong. Maybe it's just me, but he's not that strong. He's decently strong, but not that strong. So he's getting one shot by Naruto with an Odama Rasengan, right? After that, Naruto's next target would be none other than Konan. Naruto would rush towards Konan with a Rasengan. Luckily for Konan, though, she was watching. She was watching Naruto's moves, how powerful he was, and everything of the sort. So she had a bit of a gauge to not underestimate Naruto, and would create a shield out of paper. The shield would be blocked, basically, by Sasuke, who would step in. All the Akatsuki members would be in shock, as Naruto would be able to land the Rasengan, hitting Konan point blank in the face. This would numb Konan for a minute, but Naruto knew that Konan was no slouch, and he needed to take care of all of the Akatsuki. If, for example, he left one alive and, one could, start up a new Akatsuki, he would still be in danger. His friends would still be in danger. So he gathered all of his strength into his sword, his Kyuubi chakra and all, and would then basically cut into Konan, and Konan would die. Now, maybe you feel like I'm overhyping Naruto and his strength, but just think about it this way. Now, the Kakuzu kill, if you will, Naruto killing Kakuzu, I think you guys can understand that, how he was able to, he had intel on Kakuzu, but not only that, but he has intel on all the Akatsuki members here. Heavy intel. He was technically in the Akatsuki. That's why it's even more surprising for Naruto to be here, because they thought that Naruto was in the Akatsuki, even though, yeah. But with that being said, Naruto not only knows intel on them, but he also knows their moves, their skill set, and things they're good at, things they're bad at least to a degree. Some members he doesn't know about because, a low-ranking member of the Akatsuki, like his clone, and Sasuke's clone, can't really know too much, but they can know enough, right? But with that being said, they weren't too low-ranking, but they were just, fast ranking, if that makes sense. They were rising up in the charts, to say the least. But with that being said, they know a lot. Now, even though this may not be the case, and Konan's not weak, Naruto's powerful, right? My point is that I'm trying to make is that Naruto, when he was about to slam the Rasengan into Konan, Sasuke blocked. This created surprise in everybody there, even somebody who's calm and collected, like Pain/Nagato, whatever you want to call him, right? Now, we then take the fact that Konan was also surprised. Now she's off guard just a little bit, right? Naruto takes advantage of that blind spot / that time he has to land a perfect blow, as he would. Naruto then powers his blade with all of his chakra, that being his Kyuubi chakra as well, and kills Konan with the blade. I see no reason why he's not able to do this. If you disagree and just, think this can't be true, this can't happen, well, sure. But it's happening here. But with that being said, there are still a few members of the Akatsuki that they had to deal with, and Naruto is now running a bit low on chakra. Now, maybe you do remember this, maybe you don't remember this, but in a part or two ago, I explained Naruto and Sasuke's abilities, and I'll just go over Naruto's abilities real quick. Advanced Perception, the ability to slightly see into the future. The Byakugan's Gentle Fist, the Byakugan's Rotation. Advanced Genjutsu on par with the Hetsuryagan and Rinnegan. Access to Fire Release, Wind Release, Water Release, Earth Release, and Lightning Release, or all 5 chakra natures. The ability to manipulate light, like being able to create light kunai and stuff like that. The Sharingan, which Orochimaru had given Naruto, and 2 Mangekyo abilities. The first being the ability to stop time for 10 seconds, and the ability to activate blue flames. Not only that, but KCM 1 and 2, his ancient Dojutsu, as well as the fact that he has the Rasen Chidori, just in case things get rough. And he has 1 jutsu that will basically get him out of any situation. Well, not all situations, but you get my point. Which is basically a technique called light substitution, or at least Naruto says that's the, technique's name. And I might give another name for it later on. Somebody might say it, don't worry about it. But with that being said, it basically causes Naruto to become light itself for a short period of time, though it is very chakra taxing. Anyhow, those are some of Naruto's abilities. Sasuke kind of scales to that, so you can, infer Sasuke's abilities, or you can just go watch the part. I would just suggest doing that. But I will go over Sasuke's abilities a little bit. He has advanced lightning style, advanced Kenjutsu, Genjutsu, and Taijutsu. He also has advanced ninjutsu, of course, and not only that, but he has his eagle summoning and snake summoning still around because, well, Awoba's not dying because he never fought Deidara. Not only that, but he also has a Master Chidori completely, with barely any drain, able to use it 15 times per day, and that's due to the fact that he has Senju blood within him, so he has a lot more chakra in general. Not only that, but he has Mangekyo himself, so yeah. But with that being said, they're both powerhouses. And if you still don't think Naruto could do it, like, beat Conan so easily, well, I guess that's that. But with that being said, Naruto would then rush for his next target, that being Zetsu, like I explained before, and he would basically stomp Zetsu pretty easily. Now, Naruto would decide that he needs to take out at least 3 more Akatsuki members, and then Sasuke can do the rest with, like, a bit of help from him, right? And so, his 3 would be, at least who he was, like, aiming to kill, if you will. They would be Pain, right? Hidan, or / Hidan, and Obito. Now, these are also the 3 who are actually, running around besides Kisame. Now, Sasuke is going around making sure everybody's, like, dead, if you will, because now all the Akatsuki members, besides the ones that Naruto's about to attack, are dead, and Kisame, of course, as Naruto would then launch one of his most taxing jutsus. Actually hits his main most taxing jutsu, even though he's mastered it. He can, even with his Senju and Uzumaki DNA combined, or I guess you could say chakra, since it's kind of hard to explain. With that being said, even with that, factored in, he can only use this jutsu about 3 times, as he would then yell out, Rasen Chidori. Itachi would immediately sense the sheer and massive amount of chakra within this attack, as the rest of the Akatsuki would brace for impact except for Pain. Kisame would also be caught in the crossfire of this attack, basically the remnants of it, but would basically just hold Samehada in front of him just in case any chakra came towards him, as Pain would yell out, Almighty Push. This Almighty Push was not enough for him, or at least was not enough for them to stop the attack, because it was a fake attack. Naruto is very smart, especially in this timeline. He's even smarter than he is in canon. And he knows that the Akatsuki could probably have a skill that would be able to, just like completely evade his own attack. So he thought about it. He knew what would work, what couldn't work, right? So in the case, where some Akatsuki member is able to neglect his attack, since he does know that Kisame has a Samehada, maybe Kisame steps in the way, that was actually the clone jutsu. Now, the clone is an illusion. You get that keyword, illusion. So it can't actually do anything. That wasn't going to do anything. That's my point. and he now used the actual jutsu. This means that Pain's 5-second window is, well, useless. Since the 5 window was there, that 5-second window, Naruto was able to slam the Rasen Chidori into all of them, and all of them would die except for Pain and Kisame, as well as Hidan. So, and Itachi. Now, that is a lot of people, right? But the problem here is that Kisame is immortal. Now, 3 seconds have passed since the initial time. Naruto, seeing everybody here alive, would basically decide to use one more Rasen Chidori. Now, this would put him at 2 down, and it would leave him with about 33% of his chakra. Maybe he could, rejuvenate himself with Kyoma's chakra. So basically, he would launch one more Rasen Chidori, which would annihilate Hidan. Now, okay, he has immortality, right? But if he's, just broken down to the atomic level, I don't think that he can survive, at least in my personal opinion. But besides my personal opinion, he's going to die. Now, I don't think Itachi's dying here, and I don't think Kisame's dying here, as well as Obito. Now, those 3 remain. Everybody else is dead. Kisame's alive because his sword literally absorbs chakra. Now, Itachi's alive because, well, yeah. And Obito's alive because he warped himself into the Kamui dimension. Obito would then pull both Itachi and Kisame into the Kamui dimension as he would appear in front of Naruto and Sasuke. As he would then crack his knuckles, asking if Naruto and Sasuke truly wanted to fight him. Naruto and Sasuke would both nod their heads as Obito would smirk under his mask, activating his Sharingan. Well then, come at me, young Uchiha, because I am Mother Uchiha. And that would be a big shocker than Naruto and Sasuke, but with that being said, of course, it's not actually Madara, and yeah, this is going to be where I'm going to end the part. I think this is pretty long enough. It's like 30 minutes, I believe, or something like that, maybe 20-something, 25, I don't know, 24, I don't know. Anyhow, if you guys all enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Subscribe if you're new here, as I want to hit 14,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Currently, I don't know what I actually want to hit, because my goal was 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, or 10,000 subscribers by the end of September. And, I don't know. I guess I'll just have to think about that for a little bit. But with that being said, if you guys all enjoyed, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Check out my second channel down below, where I also post what ifs and discussion videos. And, yeah, 𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙆𝙇 back in another video. If you guys all enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, especially if you did enjoy. And with that being said, check out my second channel down below, where I post discussion videos and other what ifs, Dragon Ball what ifs and Naruto what ifs, things of the sort. But with that out of the way, share the video to a friend, likes, videos, or anime content in general, and we can now begin after you comment down below. In the last part, we basically ended off with Naruto accepting a fight from Obito/Madara Uchiha, as Obito would rush towards both Sasuke and Naruto would be surprised at Obito's true speed, as he would react by creating a Chidori, that being Sasuke and Naruto. Both of them would create the Chidori, as I did explain that Naruto does have the Chidori, if you didn't already know that. But with that out of the way, Sasuke and Naruto's Chidoris would both go through Obito due to Obito's intangibility, as they would realize that Obito was this unhittable man, and this unhittable man was before them. Naruto would think of another attack he could use, that attack being his body flicker jutsu. Naruto would use the body flicker, as he would then put lightning chakra around him. Naruto's already insanely fast, so you can see how fast he would be now, or at least a little bit of that. This is KCM 2-level speeds, put on top of body flicker and lightning chakra armor. Now, Naruto has reached a speed that I'd say is comparable, or even, if not even more than Minato's, as he would be able to hit Obito by landing a Rasengan on him, as he would also be able to see into the future with his Dojutsu, quickly appearing in front of Obito, sword at the ready, as he would cut Obito's arm off. Obito would then realize he was outnumbered, as he would start to escape. Sasuke would rush towards Obito, as Obito would pull Sasuke into the Kamui dimension, somebody who he saw as a lower threat than Naruto. Yes, this may be true, but Naruto and Sasuke are actually pretty even, at least in most parts of battle, if you will. Here we would see both Obito and Sasuke go all out. Sasuke would unleash everything he learned during the time skip, as by the end of the fight, Sasuke had a single arm and Obito had 0. Sasuke would stand over Obito with his kunai in hand. Sasuke would then smirk. "Sorry, masked man, but I can't. Oh, yeah, that reminds me. I've never actually seen your face." Before he could finish off, what he was trying to say, Obito would speak. "Do you really want to see the face of somebody like I? Somebody broken, torn apart. Somebody whose ambitions are powerful. Somebody who's been defeated? Yes. You're broken. Well, then let's see what a broken person looks like." Sasuke would then see Obito, as he would laugh. Sasuke would then activate his Mangekyo Sharingan, as he would place a Genjutsu on Obito, as they were making eye contact directly. Obito would then take both he and Sasuke out of the Kamui dimension. As Sasuke would come out of the Kamui dimension, Naruto would ask what had happened. As Sasuke would grit his teeth. "I lost an arm, but I'll be alright. I have my Sharingan arm." Obito's eye would widen as Sasuke would smile. "Though I do need another Sharingan." Sasuke would use the Izanagi, as his body would be healed by augmenting reality. If you do not know what the Izanagi is, I'm not really going to explain it, but it's a technique that can augment reality in a way. I did explain it on my second channel, though, if you are curious. Anyhow, after this, Sasuke's arm would reappear, and all the damage that he sustained during the battle would, basically be nothing, because he was able to augment reality and change the outcome in a way. Sasuke would then tell Naruto that they should take out a threat as great as Obito. Since he already defeated the rest of the Akatsuki, Naruto would be fine with this. He did defeat the rest of the Akatsuki, but I do need to explain a little bit about that. Anyhow, Obito's Sharingan would be taken by Sasuke and put into his Sharingan arm, as Obito is now blind. But we do know that even when you don't have any eyes like Shisui, you can see around you, and you may still be able to, reach, Jonin level type, feats. But with that being said, Naruto would then explain how he did defeat Kisame and a few of the other Akatsuki members, but not only that, but he did have a battle with Itachi. Sasuke's eyes would widen as he wondered why Naruto would fight Itachi without him. Naruto would then explain, to gauge his strength. Did we train for so long just to fight a foe who wasn't strong enough? Sasuke would be curious by this, as he would ask Naruto if he thinks that Itachi is strong enough. Is he strong enough for them to face? Naruto would nod. "Yes, I think it will be a splendid battle. At least, before I came into the fight." "Wait, what do you mean?" "Pretty simple. Nothing wrong with Itachi's strength and all, but when we were fighting, it wasn't fair. Heck, it wouldn't be fair for us to fight him now. He was sick. Heck, he coughed up blood and I could hear his voice. Not only that, but something else. I felt his chakra weakening, his body even." "You think so?" "Yes, and if I carried on my fight, he would have been on his knees in about 10 seconds. "How do you know?" "You know, my future sight. It's one of my Dojutsu's abilities." "Oh, yeah. So don't you think it would be not too fair for us to fight him now? And it wouldn't be too much of a fight?" Sasuke would add. "So yeah, I do think so. I also gave him some Senju DNA, just some scrapings from my arm. It should be able to cure his sickness. When I fought off against him, he told me he was ill too, so I know he's not lying. We didn't train for years just to fight a sick old Itachi. Now, after this day The duo Naruto and Sasuke would be known for wiping out the group known as the Akatsuki, with many S-rank ninja in it. Though there's still Nagato and Obito as well as Kisame who are all alive. When they said that they were taking out the threat of Obito and Kisame and stuff, they just meant that they're taking them to the leaf. All of the Akatsuki would be taken to the leaf, except for the ones that are all dead, because, well, they're dead. Hidan would also be taken to the Akatsuki because they only had his head. But with that out of the way, not taken to the Akatsuki, taken the hidden Leaf Village. But with that out of the way, they would return to the Leaf Village. Naruto would be holding Obito in his hands as he would start to walk over to some scientist, but Kakashi was in front of him. Kakashi would realize something, asking if the man who was in his hands only had one eye. Sasuke would say yes, as Kakashi would gasp. It was almost as if he recognized this man. Could it be? Kakashi thought to himself. Was it my teammate from years ago? Obito? Kakashi would say, Obito, is that you? As Obito would speak. My name is Obito, if that's what you're asking. Kakashi would be surprised as he wouldn't know what to say. Back then, when Obito, or at least to them, Obito had died, he had truly still been living on. They prepared a grave for him and everything, but he was truly alive. He visited that grave multiple times, and never once did he think that his teammate survived. Never once did he think that he could have survived being crushed by that boulder. Kakashi would apologize to Obito, but Obito would barely be able to speak and muster up any words as he had been beaten so badly by Sasuke and Naruto. And he was still under the after effects of Sasuke's genjutsu. Naruto and Sasuke would then give the bodies of Kisame, Hidan, and Itachi, or not Itachi, my bad, my very bad, and Obito to scientists in Konoha who would study their bodies and things of the sort. After doing some quick studying, both Kisame and, to say the least, both Kisame and Obito would be put in prison, and Hidan's would, be studied on even more, as his immortality was something that, a lot of people wanted and a lot of people wanted to know about. How could he have immortality in the first place? What's different about his body that's, different about the human body in general? With that being said, after this, we would still have Kabuto revive the Edo Tensei army, or revive the Edo, whatever you want to call it, as Naruto would approach Kabuto and would soundly defeat him, causing Kabuto to, agree to revive an army of the dead after being defeated by Pain. As Nagato isn't actually there, he's still, kind of, disabled, just like how he was before. But with that being said, the war would be declared by Pain instead of Obito. Obito would declare the 4th Great Ninja War, as he would escape by using Almighty Push. Anyhow, each village would prepare for the war, as Naruto and Sasuke would make big waves in the war, casually defeating Zetsu one by one, as well as clashing with many formidable Edo Tensei, especially some of the 7 ninja swordsmen, and many others, right? Naruto and Sasuke would then meet up with another... my bad. I don't know why my voices did that, though I did just wake up, and maybe that's a part of the reason. But with that out of the way, they would then meet up with another formidable warrior, if you will. This warrior is Itachi. Naruto and Sasuke would have a fight with Itachi, as, they would realize that Itachi wasn't as bad as they thought he was. Itachi would be at this point 95% of his healthy self due to the Senji cells that Naruto gave him, as they weren't enough to heal him fully, but they healed him a lot. 95% is a lot. Basically 100% if you're just, casually doing it. But with that being said, Itachi had, in a way, been manipulated, told to kill the Uchiha clan by the people who he loved just as much. But he would tell Naruto and Sasuke not to hate him, and not to hate the elders. As they were both conflicted, Naruto was shocked, even though he barely knew Itachi, and Sasuke was, well, enraged. After this fight, Naruto and Itachi would defeat Kabuto, ending the Edo Tensei army. But while this was happening, Sasuke would kill Danzo. And in the end, they won the war, at least the main war. There was still another threat. Even though Danzo had been defeated, even though he wasn't really, against Leaf Village, and even though, the Edo Tensei army had been defeated, there was still Nagato. There was still the tailed beast that he collected. He had each tailed beast, or at least fragments of it. Anyhow, at this point, Nagato would go to Ginkaku and Kinkaku and would basically take their Nine-Tails chakra in the ceiling compartment, just like Obito had, which would be the last piece for the Ten-Tails. As you may know, they already have a tail of the Eight-Tails. But with that being said, Sasuke would watch the Ten-Tails be made, as both Sasuke and Naruto would appear on the battlefield. The Ten-Tails eventually would fire off a tailed beast bomb, as the Alliance had no chance, or so they thought, but that was when both Naruto and Sasuke, fresh off of amps from the Sage of Six Paths, came. Due to them knowing what may transpire and how Kaguya may be reborn, and who I mean by them is the Sage of Six Paths, Hammer, or whatever you want to call it. The Sage of Six Paths knew that Kaguya may be reborn, and they need the power to defeat a foe such as Kaguya. And even if they can't defeat her, they need the Sun and Moon Seal, which is granted by Hakaru, almost like Sage of Six Paths Sage of Six Paths chakra, amp, if you will. Anyhow, Naruto and Sasuke would then pull out their truth-seeking orbs, as they would engulf the blast and send it into a nearby ocean. They would both use one of their truth-seeking orbs, as these truth-seeking orbs would actually survive. After this, Madara would get a little scared, as both Naruto and Sasuke possessed the Sage of Six Paths chakra, and Guy hadn't used the 8th gate yet. Anyhow, Naruto and Sasuke would watch the Ten-Tails be absorbed into Madara, as Madara would struggle to maintain its power, becoming bloated and then becoming skinny again, bloated, skinny again. But eventually Madara would get it under control, which would be where we see 𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙃, or Ten-Tails Madara, with one Rinnegan. But as you may expect, he doesn't have Obito's Kamui, so he can't just go and get the Rinnegan from him. Nor does he know where Obito's Rinnegan is, causing him to only have one Rinnegan. And we know how much of a disadvantage that means he's at. Both Naruto and Sasuke would have to focus on Madara, as the Six Paths of Pain had just arrived on the battlefield. And that's what most of the Alliance is now focused on, as the other half of the Alliance can't even compete with Madara in his Ten-Tails form, or in his 𝙎𝙈𝙊𝙃 form, which is just Ten-Tails Madara, but 𝙎𝙈𝙃, I hope that makes sense to you guys who have never heard that term be used. But with that being said, Madara would then see how much of a disadvantage Sasuke and Naruto were at, just because of the situation they were in. So he would kind of take advantage of it, as they did have to protect the other people in the Alliance, and as such he would activate the Infinite Tsukuyomi. Around Naruto and Sasuke at the time was Sakura and Kakashi. Sasuke would use his Mangekyo Sharingan, activating his Susanoo, which would cover them from the Infinite Tsukuyomi, as well as Naruto activating his QB Cloak. Madara would then smirk, as Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura and Kakashi were backed into a corner that he could take advantage of even further. But unfortunately for Madara, behind him stood Zetsu, who would kill Madara with his sword hand, just like in canon. This would trigger the revival of Kaguya, as there was now another great threat, Kaguya Otsutsuki. Now here we would see Sasuke and Naruto win with their strength. For example, what I mean by that is that they would be able to defeat Kaguya even without the Sun and Moon Seal. Naruto would be the one landing the final blow with the Rasen Chidori, which would mean that Naruto would get Kaguya's Karma Seal. Anyhow, the war would end with Naruto and Sasuke going to the final valley, where they knew they would fight. A battle of supremacy between brothers would unfold. Though Sasuke and Naruto weren't actually brothers, they thought of each other as such, and were kind of like brothers. Sasuke and Naruto would have a fight to the death, if you will, as Sasuke would still take the chakra from the Biju, which would put them at about the same amount of strength. At first, Naruto was only giving about 70% of his chakra into the fight, but at the end of it, it was 100% of his power from the get-go. Eventually, he would be forced to use everything he had, as this was an earth-shattering battle. Anyhow, both Naruto and Sasuke would kill each other over and over again, and so on and so forth, until they ran out of Sharingan to use the Izanagi/Izanami, two different techniques that I have talked about on my second channel down below. Anyhow, we would eventually get a Chidori Rasengan clash between Naruto and Sasuke, as they would lose both of their non-Sharingan arms. This would cause both Naruto and Sasuke to smile after they knew who had won, and it was Naruto, just like in the original. After that, we would get Naruto to be seen as the hero of the Elite Village, with Sasuke at his side. Naruto would be pardoned for his crime, as well as Sasuke. And what crime may you be asking, did Naruto even commit? Well, pretty simple. He kind of left the village. But with that out of the way, the public would just pardon him for his crime. But with that out of the way, Sasuke would also be pardoned for his crime of killing an elder, as it would be revealed to everybody in the Elite Village what Danzo was doing behind the scenes, at least regarding his Sharingan and things like that, as well as how he killed Shisui, who planned to stop the coup, which inevitably led to the Uchiha's downfall/massacre. Anyhow, I do see Sasuke still marrying Sakura, as that is what happened in the canon. And not only that, but I do see Naruto still marrying Hinata and becoming Hokage fresh off of the war. Naruto already has the skills needed as both a leader and a ninja to lead the whole village into a great era and age. And since I've kind of made it so that everyone gets married early, well, Naruto would still save his beloved wife, Hinata Hyuga, from Toneri, and would use even more force, as Hinata is somebody who he cares for, and is somebody who's actually, well, his wife. After Toneri is defeated, Boruto would be born, as well as Sarada being born a few years later. Himawari and Sora would be born, Himawari being Naruto and Hinata's child, and Sora being Sasuke and Sakura's child. Maybe that was a bit confusing, but they both had two children, and Sarada is still the same age as Boruto, and Sora and Himawari would be the same age as well. But with Sasuke being a bit more active with his family, Sakura would be able to have another child, that child being the Sora child. Now, with that out of the way, I think I will end this story. Naruto does have the added boost of the Karma Seal, for any of you wondering, and he has gotten it under control over the years that Boruto and Himawari have been born, I'm gonna end it here, since Boruto is not ended, so I can't just say what the story's gonna be like. Though I have done something like this before, most notably in my What If Naruto Had All Dojutsu series, which I suggest you watch. But with that out of the way, I did really enjoy this series. Making a comeback with it was amazing, and I kind of loved it, actually. It was fun to, well, imagine and write and things of the sort, as for a few parts, that being part 1 and this one, I did have a script. I'm pretty pleased with how far I've been able to take this series, to about 10 parts in total, which I think is just the right way to end it. With that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and I will make an all parts of this for those who want it. Rami X. Oh.
If you made it this far, to quite literally the end of the video, then you'll have realized the change in the voice, and I'm hoping that you can tell that this is now more present Rami, rather than the past Rami, the audio that was recorded over a year ago. I genuinely hope that you enjoyed what I would call a cerebral masterpiece. You know, it's not my best, but it's not my worst either, you know? It was a joy to make, and I'm glad that I'm finally able to turn it into a full movie. Thank you for everything. I love you all. This has been Rami X, and, well, Rami X out.